Boom. Hello, everybody. Let's give this a try. We're live streaming tonight from Madison, Wisconsin. Welcome back to Social Change Warriors. It's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays, we swear. So trigger alert. We are doing a tech check right now because I am in a hotel, not sure of what kind of Wi-Fi service we're going to get tonight, if we're going to be able to use the camera. Hopefully we will. If not, we'll just have to go mic. So I've got Julie with us tonight. Julie, craziest person on earth, our resident Bostonian. And we will be going over the Karen Read trial fallout. As you know, what's been going on, most of you, the last 2 weeks. It just can't even get any crazier, can it? But it is, and it will. So we'll be talking about that. We're going to go over justice for Ellen Greenberg, justice for Sandra Birchmore, Suzanne Morphew, Suzanne Clark Simpson, Sandra, of course, Sarah Ebersol still missing out of Marion County, Florida. Justice for Jason Veach. I don't have much of an update there. Everything's pretty much in a standstill. And we'll go over all of our other victims and their families' plights and their striving for justice tonight. So glad to have you all with us. This will be a short tech check, and we'll hit our theme song. My Life Mattered, Just Us here, and then we'll get rolling. So welcome back, everybody. Let me know if you are here early, if you can hear me, if you can see me, type in the chat box. That would be fantastic. So I'm going to mute for a second, and I'll be right back with the beginning of our live stream tonight.
They try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge of name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for heroes, undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall for justice and truth, we'll risk it all. My life mattered is the cry we sing. Together we rise, let freedom ring.
Hello there. Hi, social change warriors. Hello, justice seekers. Hello, Julie, craziest person on earth, our resident Bostonian. How are you tonight?
Oh, just delightful. Just having a nice, quiet evening at home. No news. So, we got to go search for something to entertain ourselves. The usual.
The usual. Yes, yes. Well, welcome back, everybody. It's been a long little haul here. We had the 4th of July off, and then I was traveling last week and got caught in some really nasty weather, so we had to postpone. Thanks for your patience. It's great to have you all back. This is our Wednesday edition of our Angry Bitch Club, where we all get together and just talk about whatever topics that we want to talk about that have to do with the trials, the cases, the victims and their families that we're fighting for justice. So welcome back. You will hear the puppy in the background a little bit. I am in a hotel, and he goes through his little puppyism about 8:15 to 8:30. So he'll be back there, Tanner Man, and we'll be glad to be back with you guys. We've been gone for a while, so it's been a pretty crazy 2 weeks. I've put on a gazillion miles on my car. I've been up the 95 from Daytona to Virginia Beach, picking up my dear friend from high school, and then Virginia Beach all the way across to Madison, Wisconsin. And we've been visiting and I've been going to doctor's appointments, reunions. It's been crazy. And of course, in the background, while I've been doing all this, has been the craziness that continues to be the fallout from the Karen Read case and the untimely and tragic death of John O'Keefe. So we are going to catch up tonight. You're going to catch me up a little bit, Julie, because I am a little behind. I've been trying to keep caught up a little bit. And of course, we always like to check in on what's happening with dear departed Sandra Birchmore. The two cases are very connected with the death of Sandra and the officers involved in both the death of John O'Keefe and the death of Sandra Birchmore. Birchmore. And then, of course, I'll give you what little information I have on many of the other victims and their families we're standing for. A lot of our cases and the families we're working with are in standstills right now. And I'll let you know where that all stands too as we go through the night. We'll could kind of weave them into the conversation about John O'Keefe, what this looks like. What does justice now look like for John O'Keefe and his family, and what is going to happen with Karen Read? With she's currently on probation for the OWI portion of her charges, completely vindicated, acquitted of the charges.
Not completely.
Well, not exactly, but acquitted of the charges that she was, the manslaughter and the leaving the scene. So the jury found her not guilty. So then we've got, of course, all the background noise right now going on with the insane speculation and I guess allegedly, we're going to use the word allegedly a lot tonight, my friend. So if you want to come on with us, you know what to do. Just let me know in the chat box. I'll send you the link. You're always welcome to put together your opinions and your allegations. But we don't know really any facts about anything, but we know there's been a lot of talk, a lot of live streams, unbelievable amount of live streams going on the last 2 weeks that I've been off. And so let's just dig in, Julie. Where in the heck do you want to start?
It's funny. I had, because like we talked, we were going to go, and I mean, a lot of stuff happened last week and the week prior. We're just like one after another one was like, okay, well, what are we going to talk about? I mean, Sue O'Connell took up my Schmurder Sharks, my hard-hitting expose. So it was like, well, what are we going to talk about? And then there was all the shit that happened with the Norfolk State Police DA's office playing shuffle them up and deal and hide them, like a three-card Monty with who's going to go into which office and where. And it's very unfortunate because something happened locally in Haverhill, which is Essex County, which is northwest of here, which I don't know if you guys have seen. JFK has been talking about it. I mean, it's horrible. It's basically.
We missed you too, MCAT. I wanted to tell you, Julie. She said, MCAT says, I missed you all. We missed you too. It was like, it felt like forever, right? Hi, Shauna. Hi, MCAT. Thanks for being here live. Yeah, Julie, I did. I think you told me about that in a text message, right?
Well, I mean, there was lots of stuff. There was the cop that was arrested for soliciting a 14-year-old, again, allegedly a 14-year-old boy. Then there was another bus. Then there was everybody getting rehomed and moving around and who's going to do this. Then Sean went live and was like, and then did a post of Last Man Standing. It was like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? Then stuff happened. Then Mizzy had the stuff. Actually, what's his nuts had his thing today. Divine had his second day of his interview. But yeah, and I think she's been tired because of
what's his nuts. That's a great way to put it.
So
I'm laughing not because it's funny in a way, because he's a tragic case and he's a horrible individual. But I thought that was pretty funny what you just said. What's his nuts?
Well, it's just like one after another. And then like the mother of all shit happened. So again, you kind of have to take him with a grain of salt, and he's excitable, which I can appreciate. But Grant has been going off about, and like the same thing that Sean has, oh, there's stuff coming. John Camo, same way. Mr. Dixie, something's coming. We don't know.
They keep dropping little breadcrumbs for us. Yeah,
like right there. I don't know. Who knows? Right? Who the hell knows? So like they're dropping stuff, and then about 2 hours before Turtle goes live, all of a sudden, like the floodgates open, and who's putting stuff out, and was like, oh my God, what's happening? Melanie went live suddenly. I went to the attic, hung out, and was like, oh, I missed it in here. Well, not really, but it was just interesting. Like, basically, no one knew what was coming except for people who kind of had the ear to the ground. And we're going to go over Grant, because Grant stayed live, and he freaked out. It was like, oh my God, they're all getting indicted, which, who knows? Doesn't look good, but something's happening.
Well, on tonight on our live stream, we'll be filling you in on a lot of things you guys have followed along with for the last 2 weeks, and catching some of you up if you are behind. A couple things I'm actually behind on because I was on the road. So Julie's going to update us and me. I also want to remind you that everything we say on this channel is our opinion. So it's our opinion based on evidence, the trial, the post-trial, other people's opinions that we share with you that may or may not be ours. You know, we may have disagreements, but we always respect everyone's opinions. Of course, everyone has the right to their own opinion. But a lot of times, you know, when we're stating these opinions, they are just based on, for me, it's my training, my experience of life and of my past careers, and same for Julie, and then same for you. You know, whatever you may have past careers that have to do with many of the aspects of the death of John O'Keefe, whether you were a nurse, a firefighter, a police officer, an EMT, whatever job you did, you may have garnered expertise being a true crime follower, for goodness sake, right? Because it's you can learn a lot just by following true crime and cases. So we all have our own opinion on this case and on what's happened with it and what's going to happen, obviously, down the road. The civil trial is coming up for Karen Reed, and then she's got to fulfill this. It's a year, correct, Julie? A year?
Yeah, 1 year probation. Yeah,
right, 1 year probation.
Yes, 1 year probation. She has to. She's registered with Bristol County, which is where she
right.
is. So went from Norfolk to Bristol. She has to report. She has a probation officer, the whole nine. So she's here. She needs permission to leave the state. So she's stuck in Massachusetts. So
correct.
That's that. But yeah, so I mean, they can pop in and say like, hey,
right.
you know, piss in this cup, and
yeah,
see how you go. Those are breaks.
So before we slowly dive into all these pieces of this puzzle we're going to put together for you tonight, Julie and I do want to give a shout out to condolences to everybody in Texas, everybody that has family in Texas. Absolute tragedy. I was just horrified as I watched that unfold from when I was still at the house in Daytona Beach. We were having a lot of rains and downpours and such too. And I've been in a flash flood in Florida before. It's terrifying. I'm just heartsick. They were listing more found, which is good. So the families can have their loved ones back for burial, but there's still so many missing. And it's so scary. And, in about an hour after we take our stretch break, I do want to share a little bit about it, because you all know that when tragedies happen, and we've seen so many, those my age at 62, I've seen a lot, but you have all seen a lot too, Julie, in your age bracket. You've seen Sandy Hook. You were a child when 9/11 happened, and I was a police officer. And we always ask these questions, you know, why did this happen? How did this happen? How do we prevent this? And, you know, we've had other, you know, you had the Columbine, you've had all of the other, you've had the, was it Uvalde? Am I pronouncing that right? Uvalde. Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, we could go on and on. There was the Florida, the high school in Florida on Valentine's Day, which is my birthday. And so I always say a special prayer on my birthday for all the kids who lost their lives in Florida. There's so many it'd take forever to name all the tragedies that we've all watched in the last 30 to 40 years. But we're always asking that question, how could we have prevented it? What could we have done? Or what did we miss? And now what can we do to prevent it in the future? So now they've been having that discussion about the floods in Texas. And the main thing I'm getting, the takeaway for me, is that 4 or 5 years ago, they discussed the need for an alert system, because this is a heavily flood prone zone. They've had floods there before, not to this, you know, basically biblical magnitude or once in a century, but they've had them, and they've been pretty severe. And I think it would have been $50 grand. And it got voted down. And so, of course, a lot of people, it's going to be that whole armchair quarterback thing. You woulda, shoulda, coulda, but there is some accountability that has to be had when these major things happen, right? Accountability for what could have been done and why wasn't it done? And let's get it done ASAP so that this doesn't happen again. Because you see the faces of those innocent children from that Mystic Girls Camp, where a majority of the deaths of the children came from, and you're just torn. Your heart is just torn out. So condolences, thoughts, everything, to all prayers to all of those wonderful souls, and all of those counselors, the ones that made it. I'm glad you made it. You saved a lot of lives. To those that didn't make it, you still saved a lot of lives. And then, you know, I'm so sorry. Rest in peace. So there was a tragedy in Wisconsin while I've been here. A 67-year-old woman, not much older than me, 5 years older than me, went missing from Dodgeville, Wisconsin, which is to the west of Madison, towards Iowa, Nebraska area, southwest. And she just went missing, and her family didn't hear from her. She's been missing since Monday, and they discovered that she was carjacked apparently, and her car was stolen with her. She was unalived. She was found unalived in the back seat. The person driving the car fled, and there was this big manhunt, police chase. He fled on foot, and he crashed the car. It went into like a ravine, into like a river or a little pond or something. They were able, but she was already passed. They determined that she was not passed because of the car accident. And of course, my first thoughts were, because at first I didn't know the age of the suspect. I was thinking it was her boyfriend, husband, stalker, because when women are unalived, as you guys have known by watching my channel since last, summer, 85% of the time they are unalived by someone they know. So my first thought was, oh no, it's another domestic violence, or it's a familia domestic violence. But they're saying right now that this person was only 23 years old. They don't believe they knew each other, and that it was a random act of violence. And they don't know much, obviously, at all. They don't know her cause of death yet. They haven't released it. But I'll update you next week when I know more, because it is very rare for a woman to be involved in a completely random act of violence. It's 15%. So anyway, very tragic. Dodgeville's a very small, tight-knit community, like I said, just to the southwest of Madison. So my condolences to everybody in Dodgeville who knew her, the family, whatever led this young man to do such a tragic act. I don't know if we'll know or not, if it was a mental health issue or what. So I'll find out more. But things happen close to home, and tragedies happen. And then again, how do we prevent this? What happened? What could have stopped this tragedy from happening? How do we prevent this type of thing in the future is all we can do now, and pray for all those affected who have lost this beautiful soul. So thanks for that. So Julie, where in the heck do we start? I mean, where did we leave off? Maybe we should back up 2 weeks ago. Where did we leave off?
Well, so we left off, Jesus Christ. But before we start that, I just want to go back to what you said about Texas. I changed Nagel Blob's t-shirt from the Camp Shitty shirt by Oblivious Benson, who coincidentally is in Texas, in the Austin area, and had ridiculous warnings. So things are still not that great, but thank God things are okay there. And yeah, they didn't get warnings and all sorts of stuff. But I changed Nagel Blob's shirt from the Camp Shitty shirt to United States Coast Guard, because thank God we, you want to shut down FEMA, you want to shut down NOAA, you want to shut down all these resources. You're going to put people and your own military service, which is the United States Coast Guard, who went into an inland community to make all these ridiculous water rescues. And they showed one, was he an ensign or no, I think he was the first lieutenant, who rescued, I think, 165 people, part of the girls from the camp.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, so
I saw that. Yes.
So props to United States Coast Guard, Semper Paratus.
Thank you, Nagel Blob. Thank you for changing your T-shirt from Camp Shorty to
Camp
that.
Shitty. Camp Shitty.
From Camp Shitty to our very awesome Coast Guard, and not to mention they're continuing the the search and recovery efforts as well.
They are. Yep.
And it was continuing to rain there, and it was continuing to be dangerous.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It's still going.
Yeah, thank you to all of them for their service. So, but yes, my goodness, so much has happened since we met 2 weeks ago. Well, we met 2 weeks ago, this coming Friday, right? The Friday before Thanksgiving, 4th of July. And I hope you all had a good, healthy, safe 4th of July as well. But so much has happened. How could one case, seriously, everyone, right? How could one case build and build and build to this crescendo of what it built? 2 trials, 1 hung jury, 1 very dramatic finish to that second trial, and then all the fallout now with the jurors coming out. I mean, we spent time last Friday or 2 Fridays ago talking about the jurors that were brave enough to come out and speak, and then they've taken hate and backlash, and then all of just so much bickering again going on with everybody standing their own ground. John O'Keefe's side of the aisle believing still that Karen Reed did hit him with the car, even though the science says no way, no how. And not even at this point, you got to consider the alternative. How can you just stick to your guns after you went through 2 trials and you listen to multiple scientists telling you this is not jiving, not to mention all the police officers that have come out, the law tubers. I mean, so many people saying nothing in this trial added up. Nothing makes sense. Everything the police did was wrong and shoddy and terrible. And the science doesn't add up at all. I don't understand how you don't want to consider the possibility of another way that John O'Keefe died if you're on that side of the aisle, Julie. What's going on with everybody over there?
Well, I mean, the attic's been kind of shut down. I mean, they opened it, and again, I don't know if it's carbon monoxide leak or something, but it was very interesting to see where they were coming from. I didn't hear what Kevin had to say the first, I think, 20 minutes of his stream, but I'm sure it was probably something like, see, Josh Levy ought to go to jail, blah, 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 whatever he was talking about. But it seemed like a lot of people were caught by surprise by what came out last night. But when it comes to, like, everybody got all upset, and then they kept doing stuff. It's like, oh, you guys got it all wrong. This is what happened. And, you know, she fooled you all. And no, she's a killer. She's this, that. And the only thing I say to that is, well, it's not possible, but she was found not guilty of what the state brought her up on. So if you guys have an issue, right, like what I'm considering, and have an issue with, you should have an issue with how the investigation was done, because again, if they brought a stronger case and say, like, oh, maybe he didn't hold his arm out like a crazy person like this, and, you know, whatever, and he had styrations going the wrong way, and did a pirouette and spun and you know, did 17 cartwheels and landed 35 feet over that way, which, like, maybe they could have presented a stronger case. Maybe they should have investigated. Maybe more people are involved. Maybe less people are involved. Who knows? But the issue is not with, like, oh, it's the jury, it's Bev, it's this, it's that, it's blah, 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 blah. No, it's the investigation. Start there. The investigator should have been the investigation.
There's no way, Julie, there's no way it's the jury. You've had two juries. You've had two juries to convict one person of hitting someone with their car and leaving the scene. You've had two juries, not to mention all the alternates that didn't get to have a say. Mm-hmm. So you have to understand here, this is not a jury problem. This was a failure to prove a case problem. And when we talk a little bit about Agent Sean's interview today with Grant, he mentioned something that was very poignant, is that the only job the police have, the FBI have, if it's the CIA, if it's your local government, if it's your DOJ in your state, your Department of Justice, they have one job, and that's to get enough evidence so that the DA can prosecute the case and put the bad guy in jail.
That's right.
That's it. It's as simple as that. And he made a statement that it doesn't matter who the president is, what party the president is, what party your governor is, or your DA, or anything. It has to do with, if somebody has been unalived, or if it was a white-collar crime, we are trying to build a case. We are investigating and finding evidence, seeking out witnesses, building a case that the prosecutor can literally have on a platter as a slam dunk that no jury could not convict. That's what they're trying for every time. And that's why they can't just go to trial with every case. That's why it's frustrating that it took almost 2 years to rearrest Barry Morphew in the death of Suzanne Morphew. But they didn't have it. They had to keep investigating, keep plugging along. Some of these cases seem cold to us because we can't know everything. If we know everything, or if it leaks out to the media, it can compromise the integrity of the investigation. So many of these cases may appear cold. We may be frustrated, but they're still working them as long as they're open. When they close them, then that's a different story. But if they're still working a case, then they're working the case, and they can only give us so much information. And Sean was very, very poignant in that today when he said that if I'm the agent, if I'm the detective, or if I'm the agent, whatever, if I'm a sheriff's detective, whatever municipality I work for, whatever agency I work for, I'm given a job, and that job is to build a case against the person that has been arrested, that we believe committed that crime. And that's the job. And so, that's important for everybody to remember. And especially in this case, especially because it was split. Half of the world, more than half the world thought she was wrongly accused. A very small percentage really thought she wasn't, because if you look at all those polls that they did in the first trial and the second trial, you remember those, Julie, they were all high. They were 75, 85%, 95% that the jury would have to come back not guilty because there wasn't enough evidence to convict her. Those are high percentages. So I want to try to understand now, why do we still have this percentage, this 20% of people that are just not giving up? They're going to die on the Hill of the SUV crashed into John O'Keefe. I don't get it.
Well, see, I don't even think it's that the SUV crashed into John O'Keefe is the issue that they're having. I think the issue that they're having is like the Karen Read as a person as a whole is guilty, and however we can get it to fit to make her look guilty is the issue. And that shouldn't be the case at all, which is why you should get mad at the investigators.
Right.
Who again are saying like, we need somebody to pick and it's going to be this person. Don't even look over here, just this person, and make sure that this person and only this person, only look over here, only look at Nagelblob, only don't look over here. And it seemed like it was constructed because like the more I think about this, again, she got, found not guilty of the big charges, guilty of OUI, serving a sentence. Okay, fine, whatever.
Right.
Charged for what she was charged with again. So I said, okay, like what we talked about 2 weeks ago, saying, okay, let's take a look at all this stuff. Like, let's be adults. Let's take a look at the big picture and let's see, if we can get to the bottom of who killed that man right on the top of the page, right here on our screen. Right. John O'Keefe, Boston Police Department, who apparently Boston Police Department hasn't said one friggin' word about this poor bastard. And to see Michael Cox come out, shame on all of them to do that to this poor man.
Right.
But yeah, that also came out in the follow. Like, who, what? I don't even know. I wasn't even here. I'm not supposed to go back. Nope. Boston Police started when I took this job, and everything that happened before that doesn't exist. So it's ridiculous. Right. But yes. So I think they're looking at it as though they're like, well, we don't like her. Don't look over here. So let's just make it so that we frame it so that it's her and only her who does this. And if they did a proper investigation, I think that more would have been come in. But who knows? Maybe somebody else is looking at this. Maybe some more stuff's coming out. Who knows, right? Who the hell knows?
Exactly.
So we'll
now, for the whole entire time for me, when I first learned of this case, all the way through the first trial, the second trial, even now, the behavior of the firefighters, EMTs, police officers, I was looking at them hard. Are you telling the truth? Which is why we started Friday Night Lies, back in January, because we wanted to go over all the testimony from trial 1 and catch up for trial 2, and then go over the testimony for trial 2 as it was happening, so that we could look back into and really scrutinize if we believed that these witnesses were telling the truth, being evasive, or lying. And so my jury's still a little out on a few of them. I think it's possible that some of them might have thought they heard what they heard. And like you were saying, Karen Read admitted that she very well could have said, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? I hit him, and that's what they could have heard. I think there was so much.
No. She said, to get her own words, she said, I know I said I hit him, but I don't think I said it that many times. Yeah.
And that was a little surprising to me, because so much of what was, part of trial 1 was, I do believe though, that she was questioning herself. I do believe that she did say, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Because she was panicked, and upset. So I think it's very possible that I hit him might have said an interview. What'd you say, Julie?
But why sit down 2 years later and do an interview that is supposedly your testimony, and this is your way of testifying, and I'm going to do it, and then say, yeah, well, they said all this stuff, but like I know I said it, but did I really say it like that many times? And then Hank plays that after all, like it's I don't know, like there are a lot of moments like that too. So,
well, it bothers me, and I'm not going to lie to all of you, and I know this will be controversial a little bit, because I totally believe in the science. The science makes zero sense to me, but this doesn't make sense either. That so many people testified under perjury threat, that she said, I hit him, that she was running around screaming, I hit him. I mean, you got a bunch of very credible people with good jobs and good careers under their belts. Why would they risk perjury? So if that is what happened, what made her so sure that she could have hit him? Why was she that concerned that she could have hit him? So does that mean, right? So that's been bugging me a lot, more so now than before. Was she that blackout drunk that she has no memory of it, and that's why she was so confused and upset? Because that's concerning too, right? That she's drinking to the point where she's blacking out periods of time. And this is I'm not criticizing her right now. There's plenty of people, that crowd, they all drank a lot. Any one of them could have been blackout drunk the next day. Any one of them might have had a memory. I mean, for God's sake, think how much alcohol Brian Higgins must have poured into his body. And Brian Albert been drinking all day. And whoever was with Brian Albert on the trip back, from New York. And there's no way to know. I mean, obviously, Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson and Brian Albert Jr., they all admitted they'd been drinking, and they all said they were a bit drunk. So I'm not condemning the fact that she likes to drink. What I'm condemning is the danger to her body. If she's actually having blackout, incidents where she's drinking so much that she doesn't remember what she did, that's a big warning sign that maybe it's time to put the brakes on. In my opinion, time to put the brakes on your drinking, because I'm just very concerned by that whole 20 minutes where the running around and the panicking and this many credible people saying that they heard her say she hit him, or are they lying? But then, as you said, Julie, in her
2 years later, during an interview, which is her testimony, I said I hit him, but did I really say it that many times? Now, again, that's not enough to indict and bring to trial, where you say like, oh, well, this person admitted that they did it, and they have gunshot wounds all over them, but she's saying, oh, I hit him. So what are you talking about? But so other stuff needs to jive. Now, I mean, again, like, okay, disclaimer, we're going to talk like adults here because, it's all done. Let's talk like adults and like all this, like, oh, let's blow, like, oh, Karen, she, she walks on water. Everything that Karen says is true and everything that everybody else says is a lie. No, people lie. And we know that Karen might have fibbed a couple times,
right,
based on conflicting reports and just the statements. I mean, you listen to them one after another. I mean, just listening to the investigation discovery Body in the Snow. I mean, again, if you take her parts out of it, it was very well done. It shows all the people who were there and what the issues are. But you listen to her parts and you just isolate them. You're like, oh my God, how is Hank going to use this? And he used them just basically exactly how they were used. And then you look at the jury and you go, how is this going to go to a jury? And you look at the people who are commenting on, the Body in the Snow and who's looking at it and going, oh my God, what is she talking about? And so then you start to question, like, well, is it science? No, science is rock solid, which means that somebody's not telling the truth about something. And I think what they're not telling the truth about, again, in my opinion, from what this is based off of, is what happened in front of 34 Fairview. So,
right.
Right.
I mean, there's something that just doesn't something feels off. And you've said that from the beginning. And I've always said that there was just something didn't jive with me, but the science I completely agree with. And the fact that the shadiness of these witnesses and how their mannerisms on the stand was so off. I mean, most of us saw it that really wanted to look at this, especially people that went in this with just, I'm on the fence, like, let me look at the testimony, let me view this, let me decide. A lot of people still felt that Jen McCabe was lying through her teeth, and that she wasn't credible, and that there was definitely something wrong with many of these witnesses when they did testify to this I hit him thing. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think if Karen actually remembers and admitted now saying that I think I said I hit him once, then I think it's more of did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Oh my God, I hit him. I mean, she was quite hysterical and grief laden. So I'm starting to feel, and I don't know how all of you guys feel. Let me know on the replay in the chat, if you would, replay chat. Let me know, those of you that are live with us. I'm curious what you all think, but I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think that there was so much sheer grief and confusion and panic that morning, and trauma for Carrie Roberts. For sure. If Jen knew what had happened, if Jen was part of the cover-up, then there wasn't trauma for her. There was survival of the fittest. That's what there was for her. But for Carrie Roberts, there's no way Carrie knew anything about this prior. Interesting about Carrie Roberts. Did you see the not ABC, the Fox article that came out that
that Turtle was bitching about
No.
oh, not a real journalist, rah, rah, rah. Where it talks about the book deal. I'm sorry, you froze. Where it talks about the book deal, and then it talks about Carrie Roberts not being able to like they won't take the victim witness advocate won't call her back or say like stop calling us, stay away. No. Only to Carrie Roberts, apparently. So that's something that Grant and Sean talked about today as well. And it didn't dawn on me until they said it. It was like, oh, that's interesting because they're talking about Lindsay and they're like, well, Lindsay was told like, hey, stop talking to us. And it's like, now Carrie's getting the same treatment. I'm like, oh, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Seems like they're trimming the fat down to who wants to be the protected few. In my opinion, that's what it looks like to me.
Well, Shauna's agreeing with us. Something is way off. And Julie says, yep, you're right, Shauna. Yeah. Rah, rah, rah. There is something, something's just off. You know, there's just, I can't really marry what happened that morning and what possibly was going through Karen Read's mind. And then some of the admissions that she's made in all of the videos all the interviews that she did. I can't really marry that with the witnesses and how I 100% believed a lot of them lied. And I 100% believe the cops were involved. Not all of them, but many of them in this cover up because it's just so obvious. You know, it's just 1 + 1 = 2 with the complete mishandling of the investigation and the shoddy police work. They just can't be that bad. And then
sure, absolutely. I mean, you know, I mean, there were several times. I mean, again, just looking at like the overall picture, it's like where could they have gone? Where should they have gone? And where did they go? And who went with them? It's like, okay, Iggy went with this one to Canton PD. Who were they connected to? Who went to Lieutenant Leafblower? Okay, what did that take care of? Okay, who went to Proctor? And this one, it's like, you know, who does he report to? Tully. It's like where they're going there. But oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Hang on.
Well, keep thinking, but not to mention the fact that look at all those suspensions. Look at all the, I mean, Proctor fired.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I mean, rehomings, firings, rehomerings, suspensions, leave of absences, early retirements. Hey guys, let's be clear here. And I know that any police officer that already feels that this case is whacked and wrong agrees with me on this one. If this had gone right, if this had been a correct investigation and everything had been done the way you're supposed to do it, nobody's getting rehomed. Nobody's retiring early. Nobody's getting fired. Nobody's moving from Canton to Boston when they were too young and on the day shift of all things. Those things would not have happened had this case been handled properly. And the connection with the Sandra Birchmore case, same thing. People, you know, if that had been handled properly, had they done a proper investigation, they would have known right out of the gate that she was unalived by someone else's hands, not by her own. And then it would have screamed, you know, corruption. I've been concerned all along about other victims that are in this that we don't even know about right now. These men did not just target Sandra Birchmore. There's no way. And so I'm starting to be very concerned that this wasn't just Matthew Farwell, who is currently arrested and is in jail awaiting his first hearing, which has been backed up thousands of times, it feels like. I'm starting to feel like that this was a hit. Okay, I'm going to use the word hit. That's when there's a organized group of people that decide somebody's going to get unalived because either they did them wrong and it's payback, or they are a witness to something that they did and they don't want that person to tell on them and to rat them out, and then they get put in jail. So I'm starting to feel like this wasn't just Matthew Farwell, and I've been thinking about this for a while, that others were involved because I think he was so cocky and so secure that he was going to be able to just frame Sandra for her own death and get away with it because there was people underneath him and above him having his back. So and it's the same thing that happened with Ellen Greenberg. They were so cocky and believed that there was no way they would ever get caught and that Ellen would continue to be have her unaliving stand, which sadly it still is standing because they are doing nothing right now in Philadelphia. Something's got to give there. They need to organize. I wish I lived nearby. I would organize a standout for Ellen Greenberg. Something's got to happen there because the Greenbergs are not getting their due justice. They still haven't received any monetary their settlement, and they still have no justice for Ellen. The ME has not relooked at her case and has not overturned it from an unaliving of herself to a homicide. So we have to do something about that. People have to start live streaming again about Ellen Greenberg, and because now they're just sitting there on this case, and those that actually did unalive her, if it was her fiance at the time, or if his family was involved in helping him cover it, they were so cocky and so assured that they would get away with it. And that's exactly what similarities to Sandra Birchmeier are stunning and make your hair stand up on the back of your neck.
Mm.
But if shoddy police work isn't there, none of these people are getting investigated, rehomed, fired, on a leave of absence, early retirement. None of that's happening. There's just too much going on, and the 1 + 1 = 2 rule applies here. That it's overwhelming. Let's see. Shauna says, I do agree. Excellent interview with Agent Sean. He was on a roll. I learned so much how it works. Everything he has ever said back then is exactly what he said today. Yeah, exactly.
Sean was right.
Yes. MCAT, agree, Kat. Birchmore was a hit. I think JOK was an accident, and they panicked and threw him out on the lawn, hoping someone or no one would be blamed. Yeah, I agree. I think it was an accident. I never thought it was premeditated, but I do believe that there was some bad blood going on, and that fight happened. That was an accident. I don't think he accidentally fell and hit his head.
No,
I think there was some kind of scuffle involved and some bad blood going on we don't know yet for whatever reason. Now, many people have told me that I'm way off and that there was no connection with Sandra Birchmore. I still feel like that jury's out. I still think that with Fanning, having worked for Stoughton, and I've never trusted Fanning, and so many people have been willing to look the other way and back up Fanning. I've never trusted him. That there was something about him that Willie's from day one, when I first saw his face and heard him speak. He's in too tight with all of them that have effed up both John O'Keefe's case and Sandra Birchmore's case. So he can't be clean. I just don't see it. So I didn't get a chance to hear all of Agent Sean's interview today, but I know they alluded a little. They were talking about Sandra Birchmore case. So
they kind of think like you. Yeah,
I've never believed that Fanning was in the clear in any of this. It wouldn't make any sense. And he's always given me the creepy creeps. And so I still think there's a possibility that John knew something that he wasn't supposed to know, and that Brian Albert and Brian Higgins were going to have a chat with him about that, and that they wanted to talk to him about that. I just can't believe that they would orchestrate John coming over to their house for an after bar party, or orchestrate him coming to the waterfall, which I do believe they did. You can call it premeditated if you want, but I do believe they did do that much. I think that much was premeditated, because why else would Jen want Karen to ride with her when she knew Karen was driving her own car, and in her own testimony said she didn't think Karen Read was drunk? And nobody at that waterfall thought Karen Read looked or appeared drunk. She wasn't slurring her words. She wasn't stammering around. She wasn't like falling over. So why are you so hell-bent, Jen, out there, Jen McCabe? Why did you want Karen Read to ride with you? Because that doesn't make any sense, because then her car's at the waterfall. John and Karen are now at your sister's house, and then you're going to take them back to the waterfall. And had you done that, you wouldn't have had room to give Julie Levinson and Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel a ride home. So that none of that makes sense for me. So I think that it was orchestrated, that they wanted to have a chit chat with John, and it wouldn't have been just about the flirtation with Higgins. That wouldn't have been enough to get Jen to suggest that Karen ride with her. I don't know. I just don't see it that way. I don't see it as just a Higgins issue. I also don't see Brian Higgins retiring early, selling his house, giving up his dog, doing all that for Brian Higgins and his jealousy. I don't see it.
No. But I mean, if the shit hits the fan, and you have to kind of make a move and go, what do we do? everything's going to tie me back. Because I mean, one thing that was never discussed is that, like, okay, like you're in your house and people are calling and knocking on your door and there's, police, whatever, but they come in your house and you don't investigate, not even for the criminal like not even for like the criminal stuff or like the human side of it. You don't even look and say, oh God, my home insurance is going to go up, or something's going to happen with my insurance company, or maybe I should contact something like that, or just inquire and say, do I need to get my policy to give it to you to check because it's happened on my property? What's the laws in Canton? Because I'm a Boston cop, and God forbid I do anything in Canton because I'm a Boston cop and I respect those invisible boundaries of the lines of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, you wouldn't even do that. And then when Gallagher called, what's her face, Officer Denver, and says, hey, Officer Denver, I'm not going to call you Deaver or Dever or whatever. I'm going to call you Officer Denver. Officer Denver, where was the guy in the snow passed out? Was he on 34 or 32? Which he said 32. And it's like, oh, it's not even on the guy's property. Okay, that's even better. Click.
Right.
I don't know. Like, there's just a lot that we're going to have to look into. But
so much. I mean, if the FBI is looking into this because there's police corruption involved, that is when they're allowed to look into a case.
Yep.
They have to be looking at every little nook and cranny of this case,
Yep.
every misstep, every fuck up, every screw up. I mean, the fact that what was his title? The cop across the street. He was the assistant to
Lieutenant Leafblower. Oh, the deputy chief.
Deputy chief.
Yeah.
Deputy chief is right fucking across the street. You got a dead Boston cop in the front yard and that guy's not coming out? What the F, right? Like, that makes zero sense.
No, he came out. He came out with proper evidence. And I mean, my leaf blower is in the other room, but he came out with proper evidence and said, here you go, take this, wash my hands of it. That was it.
That again makes zero sense. You get it. You're the deputy chief. You get in your car, you go over to the Canton PD, you get a freaking crime scene kit, and you bring it back to your officers on the scene. You help out with the scene. You're the deputy chief, for criminy sakes. You got a dead Boston cop on the lawn of another Boston cop. I mean, none of it makes sense from the second it happened. The second that they got there and Karen said, there he is, or whatever she said, and jumped out of the car, nothing made sense.
Buffalo on the prairie, or whatever the stupid thing she said.
Right. Absolutely. Nothing made sense. Nothing was right. The evidence collection, the use of improper, equipment, not securing the scene, calling in a CERT team, they're search and rescue. They're there to look. They look for people. They don't look for pieces of taillight.
They search the snow and they rescue taillight. We like that.
Right. That's not their expertise. I mean, it's crazy. I was reading 2 weeks ago when I talked to you all about the untimely and tragic death of Deshaun Hudson over in Orlando area. I was reading the police report to you and how thorough and accurate it was, and how all the elements of what they called in to come to the scene, CSI type, unit, extra municipalities they called to help deal with the people that were there and interview the witnesses and secure the scene and make sure they collected all the evidence. And so, I mean, when I read that police report to you, a lot of you were saying, wow, that sounds like a proper police investigation. And it was. It really, truly was. I give a lot of credit to that.
What's improper about this? Come on now. Oh, it fell out. I'm sorry. Well, that's okay. We know whose blood it is, so that's fine. It's fine.
Exactly. We know whose blood is there. Let's not be concerned about it. There's no one else's blood there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, duh.
Exactly. So what's very interesting, though, is when you look at the cases that we've been following here at Social Change Warriors, I think we're up to like 16 now, 17. There's a lot of similarities when corruption is involved. And that's just that, because there's only so many lanes and avenues that corruption can occur. So when you have this many cases that you're studying and reviewing and talking about every week, there's going to be this intersectionality and you hear me do this a lot when we live stream Wednesdays, every other Thursday, whatever we do. And then of course, every Friday, where I'll bring up other cases because there's similar things that go on. And especially with unalivings, because there's only so many ways that people get unalived, right? So the evidence can be similar. The manner of death can be similar. the lying, the corruption of what the police do to help cover it up, or in the case where, was there a hit ordered on Sandra Birchmore? Because she stood to take down a lot of people. I hope you guys are aware of that. I mean, she was growing into her own. She was becoming an adult. She was about to have a baby. She knew exactly what she held. She knew the cards she held, and she took a big risk, even considering outing all those people, not being concerned for her own well-being. But I think she was. It seems to me in her diary, and we haven't been able to see all of it, that there was concern, that she was concerned for her life, that they might take her life. So this is, this is real. This is what we're doing. Is we're not in a book club here on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. We're not reading fiction and then talking about it. We're actually studying real life cases where people have been unalived by the hands of someone else. And in many cases, in a nefarious way, where there's corruption, crime with the police, government can be involved, DAs, prosecutors, governors. In Ellen Greenberg's case, it's utterly stunning and shocking, and it should really stun all of us, and it should stun all of us into action, that we have to continue to have standouts and protests. If you want to I like to call them that, because sometimes that's what they are. We're protesting a law, we're protesting a bad law, and we're standing out for people, we're advocating for people, but sometimes we're protesting something, and we have to do that. We have to go out into the streets sometimes where others can see us, because many people are not on social media. They're not on Facebook or Twitter, the Twitter machine, or the the Instagram and the Snapchats and all these things that are going on. What's the other one I'm forgetting? The big one, TikTok, the TikTok. And so you have to take it to the streets. You have to get out there with your signs, because
to the street.
Right, because we can't just stand by and continue to let people get away with framing someone for their own death, or actually hiding the body and never telling anyone where it is. And then we can't get them arrested because there's no evidence. And maybe police type of corruption is involved. Maybe the government's involved. Maybe the who-you-know-ism is involved. And so as a community, we have to continue to do this. We have to call these people out and finger point if we must, until justice can be done. And that's really all there's to it. If we all sit back and we're too afraid to talk or to protest or to advocate, then these people are going to continue to get bigger and grow bigger, and they're going to just continue to be large and in charge in our communities. And it's just really sad. So we were talking 2 weeks ago a little bit about Devers' really bad testimony, and why in the world did she go that route? And since we last met, we find out that her big boss is now saying that there was never a meeting.
Told you this is how it works in Boston and just this area in general.
So now, I do believe there was a meeting. I don't think she lied about that, to be honest.
I think there was a meeting as well, because
now they're throwing her They're throwing her under the bus now. She is no longer useful to them.
Nagelblob. Yep.
Right. Nagelblob. Nagelblob. Do you agree? Do you agree?
Not you.
Right.
That's just what they did. They did the old heave ho and said, you know what? But you know what? If the media wasn't as involved to the and the feds weren't involved to the point where people are getting grand jury summons and testimony, and who's prodding around this way and that way, and she's talking to this one and talking to that one, and she's on record for this and that, and whatever the case may be, that wasn't involved, and she just did what she was supposed to do by saying again, this is growing up in Boston, the area, and oh, this is just how it works. And she just went up there and said, nope, I don't remember any of that. I remember going, I didn't see anything, and that's that. She would be on easy street, based on how I've seen how things work. She would be on easy street the rest of her career, and because she, like what Kurt said in Uncivil Law, she understood the assignment. Yeah. Easy street, yep, didn't see a thing. Here I am. nobody's getting a black eye or tarnish or whatever the case may be. And now here we are with everybody looking, and Alan Jackson saying, she should be on the Brady list. And so like there's all this, hubbub, and then he gets caught off guard, which that's the most screwed up thing ever. You to come out and say, I had no idea she was involved. Who's Karen? Who? I'm sorry, O'Keefe. What? He was your own officer. Oh,
Exactly.
see, that's my big gripe with this. It was like Boston came out and said nothing, and they continue to say nothing, and they were basically told, in the hush hush terms, it was shut up and know your place, and that's why mum's the word. We haven't heard a damn thing until they basically cornered him and was like, hey, you gonna say anything about this? And was like, who? What? Officer Denver? Never heard of her. Denver Airport? I don't know.
Right.
Shameful.
So she's on a leave of absence right now, but I don't think that, I think that's gonna, roll over into a release of employment. I mean, if the main boss, Cox, right, is saying we never had that meeting, so he's accusing her of lying on the witness stand. He's accusing his own officer of perjury.
Yep.
So how do you continue to employ someone that you are telling the public lied on the stand about a meeting that you're saying did not happen?
Well, that's just it. I mean, how can you? I mean, she was on the stand. You have every single defense attorney going like, oh, gimme. Let me know all the people that she's trying to lock up. I'll defend them for free because it's going to be the easiest case in the world. Say, hello, did you say this nonsense? Are you sure it's not a false memory? Done.
Right.
So
exactly.
How the hell can you do that? And I mean, her fellow officers are probably looking and was like, oh,
MCAT,
gonna roll over?
oh, sorry. You're freezing a little bit, Julie, unless I am. I'm in the hotel with suspect.
I think that might be you. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to walk on you. I just wanted to read. MCAT said Michael Cox looked like a total fool in that impromptu interview. Boston Police Department embarrasses themselves by not showing up for JOK, and an active sworn police officer. Shameful. Yes, MCAT, absolutely shameful. Yep. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and I hope we never do. I mean, we might, but I just really hope we never do. Dever. Dever is screwed.
Denver.
Yeah, for sure. Like, she's never going to be a police officer anywhere. I mean, maybe in Podunk, USA, maybe, but I don't know. I think she really screwed herself and got caught in what do they call that? Like a honey trap, trying to please both sides of the whole situation instead of just fucking honest. Like, you're a cop, you're a female cop, which is rare. It's still rare. We're still in the minority in this occupation, and you have the chance to kind of make all female cops proud of you and tell the freaking truth. Tell the truth. And if you get fired for telling the truth, then sue the bastards. Hire a lawyer and go after them. But to give in and play their little game, and then they throw her under the bus, like MCAT said, and they look even worse and more stupid.
She thought she was on Easy Street. Yep. Like, oh, this piece of cake. I'll go in there and just say, no, this never happened. And piece of cake.
This case is so pathetic because it's showing us the underbelly of the darkest of the dark side of law enforcement and government. It really, truly is. There we go. I'm back. There's several other cases out there right now that are doing the same, that are showing us the worst of the worst. There's something going on in Kentucky right now with the Kentucky sheriffs, or the Kentucky State Patrol. That's dark and terrible. We'll have to talk about that one of these weeks, because that's a very similar with all of the corruption and all the firings and but it makes you feel sick. Like, how these are people we're supposed to trust. These are people that go to the police academy and they swear an oath to protect and serve their communities. And then to see this much lying and bullshit going on and just sheer corruption, it's just makes you mad. It makes you feel sick. It makes you feel frustrated, makes you feel helpless and hopeless. All of those words is how I feel about this case in the death of John O'Keefe. And now we're just sitting here with one of these conundrums. can we even get justice for this man? Can we? Because the investigation was so botched. If it was truly a cover up, like most of us believe, then where there is no evidence left, what can we possibly garner? I mean, maybe the FBI can get back in that house. Maybe they can find some blood evidence. I mean, but right now we're just looking at all maybes, and it's all speculation. You know, we don't know if the FBI is even continuing to work on this case. Everything's being
well,
you know.
Seems like they're doing something.
Yeah, it does. And Shauna says, Shauna's agreeing with MCAT, and she's saying hi to her as well. And then, yes, I would have asked my delegate, what the hell do I do? Why commish? Yeah,
Talking about Deaver. Yep.
Deaver, yeah, exactly. And why do you all think Deaver was not in trial one?
So somebody was talking about that recently.
Good question, MCAT. Good question.
Yeah. So I think it was I think it might have been Alan Jackson or who the hell was it? Was it Jackson or was it somebody say because they asked and said, where was she during trial one? And they said, well, we brought her on because we knew some of the answers, but we didn't know all the answers. And she could have been like Barros. Like I forget who was talking to who, but they basically compared Deaver to Barros. It was like, you could have been an Officer Barros. Like, you went up there and took a couple shots, but he,
full cop, lying cop.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's basically what it turns up to. And I mean, it's not even just what she said; it's how she said it. Like, she could have got up there and said all the right tones, but she could have acted like an asshole, like she did, and then like a snot-nosed, brat. And we're like, oh, okay, well, sounds like this is okay, but she, sounds like an unhinged loon and a petulant child. So what is she doing as a police officer?
And she absolutely lied. I mean, anybody that's been a police officer, watch that clip. She lied through her teeth because you all always know where your cameras are. And like I said a couple weeks ago, she doubly knew where the cameras are because they were still running dispatch themselves. Most departments don't do that. In the department I worked in, we had our own dispatchers. They were trained. They were only dispatch officers. They were not police officers. But I understand small municipalities, don't always have as much budget and as much money. So they dual train, they have to do a dual job. So if you're doing dispatch job from time to time and you're out on the street in your patrol car, you doubly know where those cameras are. So her testimony through that period, I almost threw my laptop through the front window because I was so angry that she had the audacity to sit up there and make it out like she wasn't sure where the cameras were in the frickin' Sally Port where you bring in the arrested. It was such a blatant lie. And that's the part that of all of her testimony was, like you said, she acted like a really like a petulant child. But the lying, the absolute bald-faced lying about not knowing where the cameras are, well, then you should have been fired a long time ago, Missy. If you don't know where your surveillance cameras are in your police department, then you missed some training and you should have been fired a long time ago. So that was really, just upsetting. And so I understand why she's on a leave of absence, because she's obviously being, targeted now and bullied by, and which I don't agree with. I don't think.
Well, wait a second. Time out. She's on she's on family medical leave. She's not on leave from her job because of targeting. Like I'm sure that she's still like I'm sure that she's being harassed because again, weeks ago, right here on this channel, we talked about Officer Denver, whatever her name is, and said, "Hey, listen, we're getting reports that people are calling your station. Don't do that. Call the Post Commission, call Boston Police Commission, call Suffolk DA who can talk and say like Police Commission, somebody, and say, hey, we don't think this is a good idea. This isn't a good look. We are concerned. People who live in the Commonwealth, people live in Boston, people that they're supposed to serve. Call them. And it seems like people were still calling and but why do people do that? Like, that's what I don't understand a lot with this too. Like, you're going to call and say, what? Hey, I saw you on television, and then hang up. What's that going to do? We're going to look like a bunch of assholes. Stop.
Exactly.
But Kat, you also said when she testified, I think it was right around the same time, is that you said that going back however many years it is that when you were a police officer, you said that exactly where the cameras were in your dispatch and in your patrol room. That like you can walk in, you can see this. And as far as I know, I heard it from Duty Ron when he had David and Bob Alessi on, and
Right.
somebody else said it too. I think Sean might have said that too. It was like these guys hit the point. Like you absolutely I think it was Kenny said you absolutely remember where everything is because you walk in, you go to your office, like you walk in. You know, that's important shit because you want
to do it so right. And you do it every day for however many years of your career, whether it's 2 years or 20 years, but it's such an important aspect of your career. I can, if I close my eyes right now, I can walk through my entire police department. I can tell you where every door is, every camera is, every key's kept. Now they might have changed where every key's kept, but I can still see it. Like I can see it like a map in my brain. And I haven't been in, the last time I walked in my old department was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I went in to visit some old friends. So, I mean, she was just there, you know, not that long ago. She hasn't been at Boston that long. So again, she was lying. And like I said, I'm extra disappointed because I want to see female officers really stepping up and representing those of us that had the guts to do it, because especially in my era, I mean, there were very few female officers in the 90s. There really was. And in the 2000s, even, I mean, by the time I retired in 2007, when I stepped out of the line of duty, I transferred to another UW job, but I was in a desk job in a different safety capacity, but not on duty anymore. There were many more women officers, and Madison Police Department was hiring more, but it was still the minority, and they are still the minority. I mean, if any of you can show me that there's a police department that's 50-50, I'll be glad, but I'll be stunned. I don't believe it exists. No. I think women officers are still the minority. I know they still are in firefighting jobs, maybe not as much EMT, but compared to the 80s, I mean, the 80s really weren't that long ago in the whole scheme of things. I mean, there were very few female police officers. So when they do have a chance to step up and really show how good they can be and what a good job they can do. And I was super concerned as well in a lot of the live streams I was in, watching the chat and seeing the chat, and basically damning all female police officers, not just
exactly what I was going to bring up. Yep.
Not just her, but actually saying, "Oh, well, that's typical. There you go. There's
that's
your
women shouldn't be officers." Just
right.
saying. Just saying. Fuck you. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, what happened with George Floyd? Were they all women too? Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
All men. So that was discouraging to me, and I was really bummed to see that. I mean, I was in one of Turtle's lives, Sean's lives, Grant's. I peeked in the attic like you do. I mean, all over the place. The Vegas cops, Melanie Little, you name it. I just saw so many negative comments about female police officers, and it really, really stunned me. And it's sad. I mean, it makes me feel really sad.
I know, I don't get it. I mean, there was an issue. Well, like the one in Haverhill. In the last I saw it was in JFK's chat. I mean, you know, JFK was showing what happened, and I mean, it's very similar from what it looks like right now to
right.
What happened with George Floyd a little bit. I mean, you mean tell me you need to have 4 or 5 officers jumping on top of a guy who just wants to walk away from you? Like, you can't tase the person or just have them walk away and take a breath. You need to jump on them, and then when he's screaming for help, you jump on him more, cuff him, and then go, "Oh, our bad. Oh, but he bought drugs about an hour ago that we totally didn't need to do, but we need to jump. We have to have 5 officers on it." And there were two female police officers. One was in uniform, I think. One was in plain clothes. And I mean, they put them on leave today, but
they did.
Yeah, like he was showing it, and it was like what's this lady officer doing? What's this guy doing? You know, talking about like, oh yeah, we know that he has issues. Like, okay, well maybe you shouldn't jump on top of him. What you trying to snuff the life out of him? What are you doing? And somebody in the chat was just like, I'll say it. This is why women shouldn't be officers. And it was like,
right.
But I think that they were just trying to stir it up. Like nobody took the bait and ran with it. They're just like, this is horrible. This is why we need more training. That, you know, and like I even said, it's like, no, this is what happens when you don't treat people like human beings. You just see them as like, you know, like pylons. They're like, oh, I can charge you with a crime. I can charge you with a crime. I can charge you with a crime. I can flex my muscles and look at me like I'm a fucking tough guy. Like, that's just what we have. But yeah, it's sad. But
yeah.
Anyway, let's
watch
some towel turtle action.
Yeah, let's do that. So I wanted to quick show you guys. this is, let me get to a different slide, the screen here so I can, there we go. This is my capital. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, my hometown, visiting family reunions and doctor's appointments and such. So, but this is our capital. This is the Madison, Wisconsin cap. It's called the Capitol Hill because it's on somewhat of a hill, and you can literally walk all the way around it. So, for those of you that have never been to Madison, I thought I'd give you a quick little view of our capital and how beautiful she is. I'm always so glad to come home at night. She's really pretty at night too. When they'll light the dome up different, nice. The top of the dome, different colors, like depending on the season or if something's going on. So yeah, it's a beautiful space in the world. If you guys ever get a chance to visit Madison, I suggest it because it's really a great city. I'm proud to be from here. So, all right. I wanted to also test the screen share because I'm not sure with this Wi-Fi here where I'm staying, but it looked like it worked just fine. So let me go back into your clips here. Now, which one would you like us to show first, Julie?
Okay. So if you go to the top of the chat, I think there are three links. So, yep. So
this one says,
it says Grant #1 clips.
Well, there's three of them that don't have anything attached, but then this one does it. Yep, I see it. #1 clip.
No, it's at the end. It's the first one. That right at the end says Grant #1 clip. I'll have some times.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Perfect. So this is from last night. And Grant's been going live, and he does towel trivia. I've been kind of checking in, and today I said something because he had Sean on, and I said, Sean's great, thank you, Grant, for doing this. And he said, I'm a towel, and I was like, don't forget to bring a towel. So I said, thank you, and I said, hey, thank you, because he's been doing stories. He's from Belmont, his family's from Newton. There's an area in there that's a very Italian area, and they stayed in the area and kind of developed it. And very recently, around this time, there's a festival. It's the Our Lady of Mount Carmel area. So they have a festival, and the festival I guess starts tonight. And what I didn't know is that for 90 years, the street, I think it's Adam Street, an area. It's called Nonantum. Down the street, we have the yellow line. It was painted green, white, and red after the Italian flag because they painted it, and it's always been like that. And he said that he had his grandmother on to talk about it. It was like it kind of like ebbs and flows. Like every couple of years, they go away for some time, but they always come back because the community's there. Like they go back sometimes because of whatever the case may be. But it's never been an issue. Well, this time, for whatever reason, the mayor decided to put the kibosh on it and painted yellow lines, and like. After 90 years is what you're going to do. Now, again, I grew up in Boston. I grew up in Italian Boston, East Boston. We have the Columbus Day Parade. Columbus has been an issue lately, but that's the Italian thing.
Right.
And they used to do this type of shit, like when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, which is like every few years it would be like, well, why do they need a parade? Why do they need a parade? So they have to fight. And they're like, oh, are we doing this again? So like to see it in other parts of the state, I mean, it makes me sad, but it's like, oh, this is just what we do. Like they just try to erase us. So he went through, did the whole entire story. So he's still following it. I think that people are trying to paint him again, but I mean, just like that, like just cause. I mean, it's ridiculous. But he's been doing a good job with that. But then he was going off on, I forget what it was yesterday, and then all of a sudden, everything broke with the federal indictments with the jurors and what came out and what's going on. And then Dag Nabbit came on, then Turtle came on. So Grant was losing his mind, and he did a play-by-play. So he's going to watch. So we're going to watch Turtle. We're going to go over papers and a whole bunch of stuff. And then he talked to Sean today, which was a wonderful treat because I had no idea he was on. It was like, oh, look, Grant's live. Oh, it's Sean. So, and he breaks it down pretty well. I mean, he gets excited during certain parts, but he really talks about the Dag Nabbit person, which is Lamplighter. I forget her actual name. I think it's Dara. So,
and we'll come back to this in a second, MCAT, about what does the towel reference mean. We'll come back to that. I see your question.
That's Grant.
That's
Those
Grant.
Pronouns.
Right, exactly. Okay, so all right, you ready to roll here?
Yep. Is this
This should be it. This looks like a commercial.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that doesn't look like Grant.
No, I know it's Grant. It should be a commercial.
And over on the Towel YouTube, let us welcome you and say hello. My name's Grant Smith Ellis. You know what to do.
You go to about 9 hours, 24 minutes.
Hour 24.
9 hours.
Wait a second.
Okay, I gotta find it.
This is South Park. This is Towley. Don't forget to bring a towel.
Whoops, I gotta dismiss this.
Yeah,
So
he
you wanna
streamed
be-
for like 18
You want to
hours
be at an
yesterday.
hour and 24 minutes?
Oh no, I'm sorry, 9 hours, 24 minutes.
Oh my God, 9
Yeah,
hours.
he went on for forever. He did like 18 hours.
What in the world? Okay. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy. 9:24. I'll try to get as close as I can.
Yeah, CMCAT, they did that here too. They
Is
took
it
the
just
head off.
circle-
We're ready to comment. We're ready to be little towels.
Yep,
You hear it
we're
okay?
gonna
So
towels.
hello, Sunken Grave.
Let's-
You
let's
are
be
the
towels
best
with Grant.
towel soap dispenser on the face of the planet. Sunken Grave wants to remind everyone to make sure to wash your hands throughout the day because that's what
He
a
likes
super
lots of
towel soap
dogs. Those are his
dispenser
followers,
does,
dogs
ladies
and
and gentlemen. Hello, Murder by Maestro. It's great to have you watching with us. All right, here we go. He's gonna do it. Say he's actually gonna do it.
So
All
he's
right,
talking
so
about
keep it
Turtle
muted
because
till he starts
a lot of
talking.
people
Oh,
were
that's kind of
saying like,
grotesque
oh,
that
Turtle's
you would
gonna
show a picture.
just go
What's
through
wrong?
and
Why are you
like
doing
just be
that?
quiet, like oh, I'm not gonna be able to stream tonight because whatever. See you guys tomorrow. And they're like, why would you go and
This
stream?
man is so strange. I don't even want to watch some of this stuff. We're gonna wait
Oh.
till he starts pontificating. See, I can just cover it up.
Yeah,
with
so
the,
this is so he
topic
goes
of
over the
discussion.
preferential indictment.
Do you think he's just
Ah.
gonna come right out and address it? What is he gonna say? Taterbug picks up when I'm laying down. I forget. I think it had something to do with hunting the damn commies. Damn commies. Yeah, I know, LS. I feel you. Hello, LS. Did you know you helped me get a coffee, my dear friend? I am so grateful to you. You are Super Towel. I want to extend to you Super Towel hugs. All right. So we're watching. We're monitoring. We're going to see if this man actually is dumb enough to say things. I think he's going to do it. I'm a little bit perplexed. I'm baffled, in fact. Is he like, what's he going to do? Is he going to address the breaking news or just be like, no, if he talks about everything under the sun, he said he's going to address it. But if he just is like, let's talk about other things. No. The world is waiting for you. The world wants to know what you have to say about the fact that this grand juror potentially has put Karen Reed and her lawyers at extreme peril because she's cooperating. LS, I don't know. You can never tell if he's being serious or just throwing out like information to manipulate people. If he had a real good source, he would protect them and not say it. So it makes me think he's just like bluffing. Like a lot of it's like poker and a lot of it's bluffing. But I don't know. I didn't hear that specific quote, but I'll listen to it. He could be talking about Jay Fielding, who's not in the DA's office. He's at the probate court. But this guy, Jay Fielding, he already got, it's just, I don't know. Like, you can't do stuff when feds are watching and other state governments watching because they don't tell you right away. They make it seem like you're not, like, gonna, you know what I mean? They just wait for you to do something dumb and then they like get you on charges, which is called popping. Yeah, they don't hurt you. They catch you on charges. They catch you up. Grant, you will be annoyed. He's hard to listen to. Oh, yeah, I imagine. What did LS said? Had no idea you're about to get 40%. LS, I entirely understand. You're so kind to think of me, my dear friend. All right, we're still waiting for this man's intro to end. He just goes and goes and goes and goes, little towels. He just is still doing his intro. But I can save you from the torment.
That's
There you go. I'm saving you from the torment. He's still going. Oh, no. It was a federal grand juror, Selma. And that federal grand juror potentially took a deal to give up Karen and her defense.
I'm still I just paused it for a minute. I'm still kind of stunned. I have to tell you I'm still stunned about this whole grand juror thing. I mean, this case, I don't know what to make this case anymore. I mean, just one day you think that it's going to just go calm, and things will just
No.
kind of be normal. It just won't. It won't stop. I mean,
No way.
it's insane. It's literally insane. Like, you cannot make this shit up. And this is going to go down in history probably as one of the most bizarre death investigations / arrests, trials, multiple trials, civil trial. I mean, corruption, lying, cheating, backstabbing, and then just the sheer, just think about the numbers of people that have been on the live streams of the YouTubers. And then if any of you have the time, go back, just because, we're not monetized and we're a small, tiny little grassroots channel and we don't even have any donations yet. Well, I take that back. Kara donated $55 to us so that we could continue to use StreamYard at a higher level while I was working on Jason's case with her. So thank you again, Kara. We love you and appreciate you. And we're still standing for you for justice for Jason, even though your case is in a standstill right now. But we still want to see justice for Jason Veitch. Thank you for your $55 donation to Social Change Warriors, Kara. Think about it. Go back and look at these streamers and go see what they were doing before Karen Read. I think some of you will be surprised. I really think you'll be surprised, and you'll be surprised at and the sheer numbers now that have gone on some of these law tubers, and especially some of the newer law tubers that weren't around before Karen Read or barely around. And then you've got other people that were barely around before Karen Read, and I don't need to tell you who they are. You can go look for yourself. It's stunning. Like, this one case of one man's death and one woman being wrongly accused, according to the majority of the population, 75 to 8% believe that she was wrongly accused, wrongly arrested. The sheer numbers that have been on all of these sites, and I can't even venture a guess as to the sheer amounts of super chats that you've all, and many of you that are here tonight and that are watching on replay, I can't imagine how much money you've all pumped into the super chats of all of these different, to hear all these opinions of all of these people, because in every case of almost this entire totality of this case, it's our opinions. It's my opinion, having been a patrol officer. It's Julie's opinion, having been a scientist. It's Melanie Little's opinion, having been a lawyer. It's Emily D. Baker's opinion, having been a trial lawyer, and was she a DA? I think it's the lawyer you know's opinion. It's the DUI guy's opinion. It's the LA opinion. It's everybody's opinion, because guys, none of us were fucking there. Okay, there's no witnesses to the death of John O'Keefe. The only witness but the only witness that we know for sure was a witness is John O'Keefe himself. Yeah, he was the witness to his own death. He's the only one that can truly tell us right now if he could speak from heaven, because somebody's lying. Either Karen Read is lying and she remembers that she did clip him and the science is wrong. The science is just wrong this time. I'm saying if, or the science is 100% right and John was in a fight and they're all lying. But John O'Keefe is the only really one right now that we could go to and say, tell me the truth. Please, what happened to you, John? What happened to you? He knows what happened to him, right? Everybody else that you've been listening to and contributing to in the super chats and the Cash Apps and the Venmos, they are giving you their opinion based on the evidence, the little bit of evidence that we were given, what was given in the trial, the questions, the testimony, the answers, right? So I really want what
was spoon fed to them.
Right. What was spoon fed, what wasn't spoon fed. Yep. The death of John O'Keefe has to be one of the greatest, most amazing, in a lot of ways, amazing phenomenons. I mean, in some ways, his legacy will live on forever. I hope that the family comes up with some type of a scholarship for him, something in his name for the police academy in Massachusetts. I think that would be really fitting. And I hope that happens. I hope to see that happen. Because, it's so sad that he passed away, but so many things will change because he did. There'll be so many dirty cops, no longer cops, and so many laws, hopefully laws will get changed to fix some of the crap that went on. I hope down the road, I hope that he doesn't, did not die in vain, that his death can improve things and fix things for all of you that live in Massachusetts. Just like I hope that the deaths of so many of the victims and their families that we're standing for can help change laws and create change in their communities, so that we can hope that less of these types of unalivings can happen down the line and in the future. So I just wanted to break a minute and talk a little bit about that, because it's still quite stunning to me that every day you wake up, it seems like there's something new and nefarious and unbelievable that has gone on after he passed. So, okay, let me take you back to a little bit more of the towel as we.
Yeah.
we call it.
Oh God, yes. So we can fast forward through Towel a little bit, because I mean it takes him a little while. I thought he was reading this when I scanned through quickly.
Where do you want me to go?
You can fast forward like 10 minutes, like 9:35. There you go. Yeah, you'll see Turtle up on the screen. There you go. That's good.
Out here?
That's good. Yep.
Whoops. Now I'm back at 9:46. It's very touchy. Hang on. Okay. Is that where you want to be?
Yeah, sure. Try this one. Let's see.
I'm not getting
They're
it.
talking about.
There we go.
I was muted.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to jump around a little bit.
Disclose it. The Globe is saying they did not disclose it in the press release or the charging documents, which means it's an ongoing investigation.
Keith Halpern, who represents her, declined comment. She has been charged in an information, a federal charging document.
And information means she was not indicted. I'm so glad we've come to figure this out. I was getting so worried, folks. If you can't understand the distinction between an information and an indictment in the federal context, and you want to report on a story, oh my God, this man is so shook. He's so shooketh. You may as well call him Turtle Mob Deep Boy.
Document that signals
Call
that
him
a
the
plea
Oompa
deal
Loompa
of
too.
Pauline Henry.
Which
the
is
change
funny.
of plea has yet to be scheduled. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Reed. Okay. Chloe.
They Joe dirted him. Hold on. Let me read it back. Reed. Okay, hold on. It's just about the Reed case. Hold on. All right, Reed. All right, hold on.
So Turtle's going
All right,
over the article talking about how, this is no big deal. They were just gossiping. It was about like a case happened, in the past. It's fine. Nothing related to this. Nobody look at
inconsistent
this.
with being struck as
Right.
heads. All right.
All right, hold on. The U.S. Attorney's Office and FBI declined to comment on the federal investigation. It was disclosed during proceedings. I hope they confirm that it's closed. Yep, they confirmed it was closed. They've not, until now, federal prosecutors have not pursued any charges related to the Reed case. He was the first one indicted. You gotta love it. You want to listen? You don't understand. This Aiden is apoplectic because he's now got to fucking say the first person ever federally indicted related to the Reed case with the fucking grand juror for leaking. They fucking Pearl Harbored him. I am going to have a good next few days and weeks. Oh my God. I can't believe this is happening. This is glorious. He's 10 minutes in, and I can already tell he got Pearl Harbored. I'm sorry to bring it back. It's a wrestling terminology that obviously references Pearl Harbor, but it talks about like just getting blindsided.
Yes.
He got
Blindsided.
railroaded. He didn't even get taken out to dinner. He got fucked.
Yep.
Crash reconstruction report was part of the TUI report, including grand jury statements by witnesses that the U.S. Attorney's Office turned over to her lawyers prior to the start of the first trial. Okay. The U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment on the federal investigation. However, it was
He's
disclosed
reading, I think,
during
the
state
ABC
court
report.
proceedings in Reed's case
Right.
that all of the people who were inside the Alberts
Yeah.
home around the time of O'Keefe's death were subpoenaed to testify before the federal grand jury. In March, state prosecutors revealed during pretrial proceedings that the federal grand jury looking into handling the case was closed. Okay. So this person was on the grand jury from what year? From when to when?
So this is Grant responding live to this.
Right.
Or yeah. So this happened last night. But it hasn't even. It's been 24 hours. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Oh boy. Oh yeah. He mutes himself every once in a while. That's
Yes, I know. I noticed that. Well, yeah, I noticed that when I took a peek at it when you shared it with me earlier. So Shauna set up above. Let's see. I got to go back up here where she was. So do you guys, gals, think that this Leslie lady was just BSing, like it was a casual thing, like she didn't truly understand the ramifications of her yakking? So I don't know. Like,
All right. Okay, I'm back. All right, I'm back.
hang on
Thank
a
you.
second.
Thank you. It was
Jump
best.
towel.
I'm back. I'm back. It was best.
part of me thinks that she may not have, Shauna, Julie, I'll see what you think, but I think people are so addicted to social media right now and so used to it and
Yes.
just so used to being able to say whatever they want and there are no ramifications. I mean, look at how crazy it gets on Facebook with the political going back and forth where friends and family are arguing or people are discussing their personal family fights or personal fights with their boyfriends or their girlfriends. I mean, social media can be very out of control, both any of them, any of the platforms. So I think it is possible that she did not realize the ramifications of her actions, posting
Sure.
things on social media. What do you think?
Well, yeah. I mean, from listening to what Sean said, saying like, "Oh, I wish it was just like, you know, like she was just a soccer, like she was a quote unquote normal mom," and all of a sudden, you know, the FBI ice cream man shows up and goes like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" And she basically was like, "Here, take my phone. I don't know, I didn't know that this was so serious." However, then you look at it, and I know Turtle downplayed this and was like, "No, the FBI and the DOJ always make press releases, and they always come out with breaking news across every single platform, and they always give, and they always do all this, and they send all this for a nothing charge. It's you know, it's perjury. It's
Right.
not even obstruction of justice. It's just this nothing charge, and she's only going to jail for a day because it's a nothing
Right.
charge, and that's why they did it. And nobody look at it, nobody do any research, nobody say anything, nobody point fingers or anything. No.
Well, that's the definition. I mean, going to jail for one day.
No. So Grant goes over it, and this charge. I mean, it's not really a nothing charge. I mean, she got a sweetheart deal because she like what they say, the first to squeal gets the deal, and she got a sweetheart deal and was queen for the day. And was like, all right, well, she's going to go to jail for one day, and it sounds like she went to jail and spilled the beans and was like, I don't know what they're supposed to do. But to go to Shauna's point, to me, it sounds like she might have been talking to her girlfriends and gossiping and was like, oh my God, you'll never believe what so-and-so, you know. But
Right.
then also it might be that she could have potentially, from what it sounds like, again, we're just speculating, she might have been talking to somebody.
Possibly.
Who that person
I just
is,
want
I
to
don't know.
address the chat here a second. Filthy rat bastard, love it. Is that saying Sean of the Gulf was right? So Sean,
Yep.
what do they mean by that, Julie?
Oh, that's on my name. It's a Sean was right. That defense were here.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. I couldn't remember. I couldn't place that. I wasn't wondering what you were talking about, Filthy. And then that's why I don't go near it, Shauna says.
Well, which one? The
I'm just catching up.
social media. Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
That's
Twitter,
what it,
Facebook.
exactly.
Yeah, same here.
Exactly.
Same here. That's why we come on here every single week and say, I mean, just because we're, you know, good people and we care about people, we say, hey, leave the witnesses alone. Don't go to people's houses. Don't call them. Don't go around the fucking cul-de-sac like you don't have two brain cells to rub together. Don't do it. Don't do it. Leave, talk like we'll watch court. We'll, you know, go over. We'll do little driveway experiments and whatnot, but just don't do it. That's why we come on here and do these things, because you don't know what's out there or what people are capable of doing, or, you know, who's watching stuff. So
Exactly.
just,
Exactly.
you know, you want to talk about, stuff that we see on television and stuff that we're bringing in
Well,
just to
and
talk about ourselves, not to
I learned-
influence, but
Sean was saying something today too, and we, we'll talk about that in a second here when we get done checking in with Grant. But he was saying something today too about how the live streamers, everybody that's out there live streaming this case or any other case, that you have to be very careful. What you may, if you get an anonymous tip, or if you find out some information, what of that information should you share on your live stream, or what should you keep close to the vest until things start to play out? You have to be very careful, and that's kind of what separates the men from the boys, or the girls from the women, as they say. I mean, Sean said,
journalists from bloggers,
or just profession,
Just
or
saying.
someone who's become a professional live streamer, who's been doing it for a long time and understands the fallout that can happen. And especially if you have, like, we're just a small grassroots channel, but if you get up to the level of where Aiden is, or where Melanie Little or Emily D. Baker or some of these other live streamers are at, and you've got a whole chat, gearing up and like defaming and yelling in the chat and like going after people on social media because of what you're live streaming, you're in control of that. Like, you have to take responsibility for what your subscribers are doing, more based off of your live stream, right? So it's very, very important. And also, you also have to protect yourself, and you have to protect your subscribers, because I learned this with the Where is Sarah Ebersol case, where I was sharing public information, public arrest records from one of the, in my opinion, suspects of who could have unalived Sarah Ebersol in Marion County. And I was anonymously given a number for that person, and I decided to reach out to them and see if they would be willing to talk to me or give me, more answers as to what role they might have played or not played. And that turned out to be somewhat dangerous. I mean, that person has a very dangerous history, and that was a mistake. I consider it a rookie mistake on my part, having only been live streaming since last July. I'm still technically a rookie. So I learned a lot from that. And it scared me a little bit. Like, I was a little afraid of that person for a while. And I'm pretty sure they know it, and that their mission was accomplished. But we can still share information, give our opinion, share public records, whether they be police reports, body cam footage, interviews with witnesses once the case is closed. But why it's still ongoing, and the bad guy is out there and hasn't been arrested and could possibly threaten or harm you, live streamers and all of our friends in the Friend Zone subscribers, you have to be very careful, because if this person gets wind of where you are, and they know you're supporting that channel and what that channel is professing and sharing, then that could make you a target. That could put you in danger.
Yep. Yeah. And just like what Sean said today, and like what we've been saying today too, like with the witnesses, with people in the court, like we were talking about Hank Breenan, we were talking about Bev, we were talking about the jurors, how there have been threats to them about how they walk, they live with 24-hour security. Hank Brennan had to deal with, people, like, I'm not exactly sure if he got swatted, but, there were calls to his house. He got his tires slashed. There are people just, harassing. And when you put this information out, and again, there are certain people who will take this out and go, guys, I'm telling you, don't go to their house, but here's their information. There's their name. There's their address. This is where they live. This is what they look like. Why? Don't do that. Disclaimer, don't fucking do that. That's shitty behavior. Don't do it. We have a responsibility to the people around here. I'm from Massachusetts. This case affects me, and I think about that as well. Same thing the cat did. Think about this all the time, and say, like, what if you have unhinged loons walking around, or oh, I'm gonna dox you, or this and that. I'll write a blog, or some whatever puts that out there, and like I think about it all the time, like a couple days after we stream, like, I look, it was like, okay, all these, like, where are the comments, all these people, and I think, like, oh my God, what did I say? Did I say anything that could have been put out there that could cause harm? Don't want to do that. We want to get information. We want to have a nice discussion back and forth, and leave it be. we're not gonna cite it. Like, if anything, we're gonna do the opposite. We're gonna put blankets on and,
Right.
tamper it down. That's
Right.
that's the person I was talking about.
So Filthy said, I was shocked when Haley came out saying he had multiple accounts on
Yep,
both
yeah,
sides.
yeah. I'm pretty sure I know at least like 3 of them, and I'm not like, I look at Twitter, but I'm not on it. But yeah, that thing is good riddance.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's a lot. I mean, it's just a lot. So disclaimer. Okay. Do you want to go back? Yes, very. Do you want to go back and finish this little bit up with Grant? That was a while ago. Yeah. Yep. Filthy. Thank you.
Oh yeah. I remember when he said that. He's like he sounds like a fucking Batman villain. Ha! I'm gonna write a blog about you. You'll get me, my pretty. Like, are you gonna write it? Like he's threatened, I think, 4 or 5 people already so far. Like, oh, I'm gonna give you the Biff McMuffin or whatever the fuck his name is.
Me. Don't forget, he threatened to write an expose about little old me.
Oh, he's gonna write one about you too. Oh, come on, write it. Write it, person. Write it, man, woman, thing, freak. So come on, write it. Like for OB, you,
crazy.
Like so many people, right? Oh, I hope I don't get Biff Thunder muffins. Like, okay.
Oh, right. And yes, Shauna, for a long time, a lot of people were saying that Haley Walbrecht was Melanie Little, and then that caused Melanie Little to leave Twitter. To have to get rid of her Twitter account because she's being doxxed and harassed. And then that's why Jason finally came out and then changed the name to not Haley Walbrecht. And that was sort of part of all of that happened, last fall into the winter. Shauna, Boston Jewel. Yes, you are our Boston Jewel. Exactly. So, that was a bizarre, I mean, so much bizarre. I mean, if you could take Twitter and Facebook from when this case first started, right slowly after Karen was arrested, and you could make, like, you remember those picture books where you when you made them when your kids were little, and there was one thing on each page, and then you flipped it. You took your finger and you flipped it. And made a flip.
Yep.
If you could do something like that with technology, with all the Facebook posts and the Twitter and the Snapchats and the TikTok, can you imagine what that would look like from this entire trial, the totality of this trial? What something like that?
It would be like, what is this? A picture representation of schizophrenia? What is this?
No, that's exactly right. I mean, trying to even explain this case to someone, I've ran across people who don't know very much about it, or who maybe know a little bit about it. You can't even do it anymore because the things that have gone on behind the scenes on social media with all of the wars of words and the doxing and the hatred and the nastiness, it's literally mind blowing. It really truly is. Shauna says, really, geez, who has time for that? Sounds exhausting. Yeah, well, people have had time for it. That's for sure. Okay, let me pop back up here to, we'll finish up Grant here.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Where do you want to go on this? Do you want me to fast forward a little bit, or?
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't break it down. Like, usually I break it down, but in like 5-10 minute chunks. So,
no, it's okay.
He gets started. So what time are we? We're at 9:54. Can you go to like 10 hours, 15 minutes, 1-5?
There we go.
I want to get to where he reads Dagnabbit, and then because that gets good.
I have no idea what they want. All right, we're going to leave they as ambiguous, and I don't want to know because it's not my job.
Is this 10 hours, 15 minutes?
I don't want to.
No.
Yes.
Right now. Okay.
Is it?
However, I love.
It's
I
right
love
near there.
I love America, and I hate the damn commies, just like Taterbug. But I love.
Oh boy, he takes
America.
Detours. Well, I mean, I take detours too.
Right?
But
love my beautiful country. And so maybe it's for the best that my infuriating incredulity does not lead me to
all right,
tell
can you
this
fast forward
man
to
things that will
10
allow him
hours,
to
20 minutes,
understand what he's
approximately?
looking at.
Yeah, just approximately.
That's the message here, and he doesn't get it.
She's coming in contact with, and they see that she knows the grand juror. So that's how they got the grand juror. That's it.
No, bro. No. That's how they got the warrant. Okay. This is how I know he's scared and worried about this. Because listen, that's not what you do to get the grand juror. You understand?
No,
That's
come
not
back,
what you do to
Grant.
get the grand
Where'd you
jury.
go?
Yeah.
That is what you do when you want to get
Oh,
a
she's got
search
ads.
warrant on the grand juror's phone. Then you use the grand juror's phone and tech information to prove everything that they leaked. Oh my God. I get it. We got to we need these documents. But I think what we're going to find, based on how he's telling it, is they did stumble onto it through this post. But what happened was, and he might have known about this for a while, what happened was probably they stumbled onto it through the post, used this person to get a warrant on the juror. They used the search warrant on the juror, the grand juror, to find the contacts with Aiden and Karen through an intermediary or otherwise, probably through Alan.
Yeah, it's got to be
Yes,
something like
Filthy. Dag Nabbit
Yes.
has been on fire. No
He
kidding.
sure
All right, let's
has.
see how he treats this cooperating witness. Let's see how he talks about the defendant who pled guilty. That'll be very telling.
That's the whole fucking story. That's the whole fucking thing. That's it. That's the whole school. Everybody's fucking going online, and Daddy has to come in here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
calm
See, Turtle
everyone
has
the fuck
spoken.
down.
Turtle has
Like-
spoken.
You mean
Everybody close your
desperately
eyes.
spin
Turtle has
because
spoken.
you know what's coming? I mean, I wouldn't call that calming people down. I think just people know it's about to implode. Like they didn't buy what you're selling right there. The documents are already out, bruh. They're gonna read the information that you didn't read. Like I'm talking about, literally, it's called an information against the grand juror. You didn't read it. They're gonna read it.
Jesus Christ. The Globe never says at all that this is about leaking information about the federal grand jury, right? I could
Okay,
come up here and lie to you and be like, oh, yeah, they're going to get the McAllister.
okay, bro. Okay, see the difference though is if you actually read the documents on Pacer, like the Globe did, but they didn't post them. If you actually read them, and this is why you can't rely. Like I love the Globe, but you can't just read Yahoo and the Globe and assume that they understood everything that they were reading. And I promise you, like they didn't get most people on a first read, especially within like an hour of it going live or 2 hours. Most people did not get that what was really going on there was that they were saying the grand juror got impaneled in May of 2022 and started leaking in August of 2022, and that they caught her leaking over a prolonged period from from August of 2022 to May of 2024. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't get it. Like either he gets it or he needs to like hide from the implications, or can't let his fan base know, or he doesn't get it.
Maybe.
I doubt
Maybe.
he doesn't get it. It sounds to me like he's doing a little propaganda. Like he knows that he knows how they got the grand juror, but he doesn't want to say like how bad it's going to steamroll. I'm a little giggly towel. I'm a little giggly towel. Let's keep listening.
Alberts, they're going down. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. That's the fucking truth. This is all about a fucking the CVS.
Look at how
thing, this
afraid he
whole
looks.
fucking
Look
thing.
how scared
This
he
woman
looks.
just happened to be on the Karen Reed case. And
No, yeah,
they
just
dropped her
happened
on
to be.
March 4th, right? Before the trial began, right? And look at this happened in January of 2024. The fucking dates line up. Boom, done. Daddy's
Yeah,
here.
done.
Sorry.
Done.
Sorry, kids.
Yeah, so don't do any of your own research. Don't do
I mean-
anything. Turtle has spoken.
How did I say it? Yeah, you mean desperately spin because you know it's coming. That's how I said it. I mean, he's literally he's screaming at them to stop focusing on it. Ever heard of the Streisand effect, brah? All right. I think you meant to say towels here.
You know?
I think this is when he
So,
brings up
anyway.
Dag Nabbit.
Yeah,
All right.
this is it, I think.
So yeah, that's it. So anyway, so I want to talk about stupid people.
Yeah,
Huh.
I know. Me too, Shauna.
Huh. That was all he had to say.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't even look
Hold
at
on.
it.
I'm
Okay,
gonna run this
bye.
whole
Now we're
play
going to
one
talk
more
about
time.
these people.
Lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. That's the fucking truth. This is all about a fucking CBS.
Yeah, trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
This woman just happened to be on the Karen case, and they dropped her on March 4th, right before the trial began, right? And look at this happened in January of 2024. The fucking dates line up. Boom, done.
I know.
No.
So MCAT, you are not wrong. So I'm just going to say, come here, baby dog. Come here, baby
It's
dog.
weird times. It's weird times.
We're-
I'll give you
It's
that.
weird times. Come here. Want to drink of water? Baby dog just came back in from being outside playing with other dogs. My friend Michelle had him outside for us. You're not wrong, MCAT. I don't. I think Grant's mother has. I don't understand her at all. I mean, this is just my opinion. And before I was a police officer, I was a journalist. So I don't agree with a lot of how she handles herself. And it's kind of shocking that she's as famous basically as she is, right? How can she be that respected and famous with some of the bizarre comments she makes and just completely outrageous statements that she makes? It's just anybody with common sense would be stunned by it. And then you've got this whole towel thing, which is, I still don't understand it. It's very odd. But Julie and I like to look at both sides of the aisle because you gain a lot of information from looking at what other people are saying, the people that don't agree with you. And obviously Agent Sean was willing to go and be on his show and talk to him about the Karen Read case and about Sandra Birchmore, where the intersection falls. So, and I agree with you too, MCAT. There's things about how Aiden has handled this case that I respect completely, and how he's put himself on the line for calling out corruption and calling out crime. And then there's also things he's done that aren't so great. So, and that's, that's just my opinion. And then Julie has a different opinion even than I have on it, more extreme. She's more extreme on it, but I value what he's done as a journalist and what he was willing to do to put himself on the line for justice and for all the crazy corruption that's happened in Canton and Stoughton. So I kind of fence it on it, honestly, I do, because I don't always agree with his methods, his delivery system, but I understand where he's coming from a lot of the time. And I'm still trying to sort all this out in my brain, to be honest with all of you, as to who know what and who knew what where, and who was doing propaganda and who was leading us with breadcrumbs and never following through. And I mean, in all honesty, Shauna and Julie, and I know you're huge Agent Sean, and Agent Sean's been very kind to me, and I like him as a man, and I respect the career he had, but he's done a lot of that too. He's done a lot of breadcrumb dropping and making promises of what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And he's done that too. So, because he still was live streaming, and he still had to try to bring his audience around and, give his audience that what's going to happen next moment and sitting on the edge of your seat moment, because at the end of the day, the live streamers are doing a job. I mean, I'm a volunteer. I'm not doing this for money. So I don't have the same motivations that the live streamers that chose to do this for money have. There's a huge difference. So that's why I tried to stay on the fence during the Sean and Turtle controversies. And I've lost subscribers from it. I've lost subscribers. I put myself in a bad situation because I lost subscribers from Turtle Boy. I've lost subscribers from Sean because I chose to say, I value both these men. I value what both these men brought to the table in this case, because it's a very convoluted case. It has a lot of twists and turns. Not everybody's wrong. Not everybody's right. And so that put me in a precarious situation as just an independent, volunteer live streamer, grassroots program. And I understand that. I mean, I understand there's the side that totally thinks Sean is 100% right. And so they're going to leave me if I'm a fence sitter. And then there's the side where the Turtle writers, and there's gazillions of them, over 100,000, who think I should be leaning towards Aiden and say that he's 100% right. So they're going to unsubscribe for me. But I was never about caring about that. I don't care if you subscribe to me or not. If you do, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm trying to stand for victims of crime. I'm trying to stand for corruption in government and call it out when and if I can. And I don't need to be popular with Turtle Boy fans and with Sean fans. I just want to be honest all the time and be truthful. And I saw value in both of these men and what they brought from their past careers and their current careers to the table for trying to get justice for John O'Keefe and free Karen Read, because I believe she was wrongfully accused and should never have had to go through these 2 trials. And even if it came out at the end of the day that she accidentally clipped him and the science was wrong and she did hit John O'Keefe and he did die of injuries from being clipped, there wasn't any evidence to prove it. And there's no way the prosecution could prove their case. Guys, there are times when people die and we don't get justice. There are times when people die and nefarious things happen and we can't get justice because the evidence isn't there. There's not enough to convict. The bad guy keeps on getting away with his crime and the bad cops remain on duty for way too long. That's just the truth of the matter of everything that we have to, that we see in our society, right? So I just wanted to address that because I know, MCAT, I know you like a lot of what Aiden's done. I know Shauna and Julie, you like a lot of what Sean's done. A lot of you that watch the show and come on, you like them both, or you don't like one, you don't like the other. That's all fine and well. We all have our opinions. But at the end of the day, John O'Keefe is still dead. He doesn't have any justice. He needs justice. So I still feel that this case has to be solved somehow or another. You're never going to be able to prosecute Karen Read again, but could you still solve the case? Could a private investigator, or in reopening the case, could it then push more towards, yeah, he did get hit by a car, the science was wrong, or yeah, he was in a fight, he got killed in a fight, and who could that possibly be? Well, there's no one else it could be but the people in the house, right? Because who else was going to fight with John O'Keefe out in the front yard of 34 Fairview? So I'm hoping if they do reopen this case, or if the feds take this case on, that we will finally get justice for John O'Keefe, because that's what has to happen now. We're, as Julie put it, we have transitioned from stage 1, freeing Karen Read, a woman we believe was wrongfully accused, or at the very definite, not enough evidence to prosecute her for a jury to say she did this. But now where's the justice for John O'Keefe? Where do we go? How do we get it? Stage 2.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm ever the optimist. And I mean, just looking at this, I think that there's enough information there. And I mean, this is going to wildly speculate, but I think that if the feds are looking into this juror stuff, I think that there's a way to squeeze so that they might be able to figure out who did this poor guy dirty.
Yes. I want to go back. Let me go back after my little rant there. Let me go back and not really a rant, but just my opinion where I stand. It's a mini rant. It was a mini rant. No, it was just me telling you guys my truth, right? Why I do this channel, why I want to be involved in calling out crime and corruption. And let's see. Filthy says, let's see here. Oh, Shauna. Shauna says, I think way back someone referred to Grant as a wet towel. I think I remember something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then Filthy Rat Bastard says, towel thing is from South Park.
Yeah, he got it.
Towelly is a talking towel. Oh, my God. Thank you. I could not wrap my head around it. I could not remember why, because I didn't really follow Grant's channel too much before Trial 2. And then I went over there, and a lot of his followers, subscribers were very kind to me. I made comments in the chat asking, why can't you guys even fathom the idea that John was in a fight? I mean, how do you say you're true crime followers if you can't fathom another option as to how someone died? If you're just so stuck in the mud on only one way could this person have died, if you're truly following true crime and you like to follow true crime because it intrigues you and it's interesting to you how we get justice for people that have been unalived and how that process works, then you should be able to consider another avenue, another side. And so I went in there a couple times. Julie was doing the attic thing. So I went in and listened in to Grant, and Grant was very kind to me as well, very welcoming. So thank you, Grant, if you ever watch our channel. But I completely forgot about the South Park. Of course, the talking towel that smokes weed. How could I have forgotten that? I'm so embarrassed I forgot that. That show was iconic. Okay, so MCAT, I like both sides' opinions too. Yeah. it's still going. MCAT says, I like both sides' opinions too, but I feel like you are hating on TB and he has gone to jail for this, and MSP totally corrupt, and I have a problem with that. Yeah, I get it, MCAT. I'm not totally hating on TB. I never have. I mean, like you said, I have issues with his delivery system at times, and some of the things that have gone down, in his life. And I have issues with some of the people in his chat because they can get really cruel. And if you dare have an opinion or you want to offer anything at all involving constructive criticism, well, forget it. You are person non grata. You are out of here. You're blocked. You're sent away. So those are my issues. I don't have any issues with him personally. I don't know him personally. And I've always commended his grassroots, like hardcore journalism. But I also have to do my own thing. This is my channel, and I'm not being paid to be a talking headpiece to defend Sean or Turtle Boy or Aiden. I'm just here to witness it all and to give you all my opinion from a law enforcement standpoint as a patrol officer who did the job in the lowest form possible, driving a squad car around, looking for traffic stops, making arrests, getting calls, being sent to different various kinds of calls. I was never a detective. I was never an FBI agent. I was just your grassroots police officer, community officer in the end. So I decided to live stream to give you all my opinion on a lot of these cases as I see it from a police officer, patrol officer perspective, and my years as a social worker, as you know, for the domestic violence cases that we're covering on Social Change Warriors. I never went into this just to cover Karen Read, John O'Keefe. It just intrigued me because John O'Keefe was a police officer, and I saw this as a very bizarre case right out of the gate, and that if police corruption is involved, I want to call out the dirty cops because, like I've said many, many times, there's nothing worse for a good cop who did their job the way they were supposed to, who followed the rules, who cared for their community, who didn't break any laws while they were in the line of duty. To see cops doing that is egregious, and it's horrible, and it pisses me off. And that's why I started live streaming in July, to stand for victims of crimes, not just John O'Keefe, not just Karen Read, but many other people right now in our communities that are getting screwed by the system and by dirty cops and by dirty government. So that's my take on that. Now, MCAT says, if I was jailed and pulled away from my family, I'd be pissed as heck. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen a lot of the evidence that they have, obviously I've watched a couple of his trials, and then I've watched him back, his hearings, and it's all just BS. I mean, I never thought any of that was righteous. I mean, the way that they arrested him, treated him like he was like a massive interstate criminal. All those cops swarming his house. I mean, it was just sick. It's sick that the police can get away with this, but any of us could be caught up in something like this at any time. I mean, any of us could have a restraining order put against us at any time. If someone can prove to a judge that we're scaring them or threatening them or frightening them, I mean, that's why I'm saying, again, you have to be very careful in this realm of true crime, and live streaming and being a subscriber and being a participant in being critical of any witness or anybody involved in these cases, whether it be the lawyers, the suspects, the accused. You just have to be very, very careful. And I agree. I would be pissed as hell too if I was framed for something I didn't do and then tossed in jail for 90 days. Yeah, I'd be damn mad. I agree with you completely. Filthy Rat Bastard says, Turtle Boy was talking for months that they were going to arrest him. Then Karen and Bradel told him not to go near Lindsay. He still went there and got both their devices seized. Just saying. Well, yeah, I mean, he stepped on the line and over it numerous times. I mean, I was never in agreement of some of the chances that he took because I thought they were just too big of a risk to take. And especially once he was out on probation. I mean, out on bail, like going. He says that he was just, remember when he just went to get a meal of food, MCAT and all of you, he went to get a meal of food in Canton while he's on probation for witness intimidation,
Twice.
to the restaurant right next door to where Chris Albert's pizza shop is.
Twice.
That's
twice.
stupid. And I can say that because that's my opinion. That's just my opinion, but that's stupid. Why do you want to play with fire like that? Why do you want to play with fire like that? If you're trying to do good and call out crime and corruption and get the Alberts, you know, in their put them in their place and get them off the city council, or you guys call it the select board, city council is what most towns call it. And you're trying to clean up your government and you're trying to play a role in freeing Karen Read and getting the real people to be arrested. Why do you want to fuck around with that? Like, that's what really upset me. And I actually got in trouble because I went on one of the live streams and I went in the chat box and I said, please stop doing that. You're putting yourself at risk, at danger of getting your bail revoked. And then, of course, I got hammered by turtle riders because I chose to have an opinion that wasn't popular. But that's okay. I get to have an opinion. This is America. And
Melanie Little said the exact same thing at the most recent one, saying if I were there instead of Mazza and Nan and in the glare, she said I would have grabbed the both of you by the scruff of your the stuff of your neck and your ears and dragged you away and said, "What the hell are you doing in Canton? Get away from them."
Well, that's the second time. I mean, the first time should have been enough to teach you a lesson that you shouldn't be messing with that. Like, just leave it go. Do what you can do. Call out what you can call out. Be on your live show. But why are you going right next door to the Chris Albert Pizza Shop where there's bound to be Alberts hanging around out in front, and then try to tell us, the public, that you were just going for a meal of food? No, that was all planned. You were hoping to run into them. You might not have run into anybody. There's a chance that nobody would have been there and that only Chris Albert might have been inside working, and then you wouldn't have seen him. So sure, but why take that risk? Why put yourself in peril like that? And then Jill Daniels just happens to show up and go all crazy and then you're Facebook living that. It's just adding drama to a case that doesn't need any more drama. And that was never good, in my opinion, for Karen Read to add extra drama onto that case. But at the end of the day, if the jury's doing their job, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because the jury can't consider any of the background noise, shouldn't consider any of the background noise. So all of it's been out of all of our hands all along, because this case was already going to go to trial. Once the whole movement got started, the Karen Read movement and the protesting, this case was already going to trial. And then the jury that was picked wasn't supposed to know anything about all this background noise and all this extra drama and nonsense, a lot of it nonsense going on the different Twitter feeds and everything. So, you know, stick to what's real. You've been wrongly accused of something. You got to get yourself out of it. You've hired great attorneys. If Lindsay obviously lied about a lot of what was, you know, perpetrated on you, and you were able to prove that, if you're able to prove that, then don't make it worse on yourself. That was just my opinion. And obviously Melanie Little agreed. You know, I agreed with her. She told me
big time.
But then you got a second round of it. Then you go do it again with the whole stupid, you know, yelling. Why are we doing this? It's not necessary. It's not very mature. And why is Nan going along with it? She's supposed to be a mature attorney. So, I mean, why is anyone going along with it? Why does anybody even agree with it? It doesn't make sense to me. And it's like, we all make mistakes. We all have moments where we say something we wish we hadn't said. We do something we wish we hadn't done. And we have to ask for forgiveness. And we have to say, hey, I got to learn from that. That was a bad mistake. Nobody's perfect. You know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has bad moments. This is such a unique case. It was a unique from the get-go, because you're dealing with a Boston cop and a Boston cop, two cops and an ATF agent involved in a mysterious, bizarre death of a Boston police officer. So this case was never normal out of the gate. And then you throw in various activity by the police, and then the bizarre behavior of the so-called witnesses, which to me, they didn't witness jack shit. So I don't know why they're even called witnesses, because unless you witness something, you're not a witness. So can't they come up with a better name for people that testify? Because in this case, there were no witnesses. John O'Keefe was the witness, and whoever unalived him. Those are your witnesses. Who unalived him? And John O'Keefe. That's it. Those are your witnesses. Nobody else is a witness. So Julie, anything to add?
Well, I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I'm sorry, I was talking about, yeah. Well, yeah, he does that too. But Filthy Rat
Proud
Bastard.
Daddy, yes.
I know you're local. I think I talked to you a couple times in JFK's chat or somebody. Were you the one who knew Officer John O'Keefe? I don't remember. I know that you're local.
Filthy is right.
Yeah, he
Are you
said he
talking
grew up in Randolph. Oh yeah, you got to go a little lower.
Bastard. Remind me again too.
Yep, there you
where
go.
did that Filthy Rat Bastard is from South Park too, right? I get it
No,
right?
Filthy Rat Bastard is from, I think, like a James Cagney movie, right? Like,
Oh,
that's not
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you oh yeah,
dirty rat.
You dirty rat. Oh my God, I love those movies. Yes.
I was typing it out. Yep.
I'm trying to catch up with you guys here a little bit. Yeah, Shauna says that's what I don't like, the drama. Yeah, the extra.
Agreed.
It's the extra, and that's just humanity, though, right? I mean, that you've seen this type of backstabbing and bizarre natured behavior in high school and college, and even in adults. I mean, sometimes we all screw up and act immaturely and say something we shouldn't say behind someone's back or not behind their back to their face, and we didn't mean it. This all happens to all of us, no matter how old we are, what age we are. We all have things we've done that we regret and we have to ask for forgiveness for. That's just part of being human. But some of this stuff that's gone on social media is above and beyond that. Like Julie was saying, it's doxing, it's bringing people's families and children into the mix, saying really hateful things about people, making fun of their size, their weight, their color of their hair, their everything and anything. That's just useless. Like, it's so useless. It doesn't help, or it doesn't do anything to help get justice for John O'Keefe.
No way
at all.
Nope.
It just
makes it harder.
Yeah, and it cheapens the true crime family, in my opinion, because people that, like I said many times, people that follow true crime are truly interested in justice and truly interested in how cases are worked out. They're interested in the detective process, in how the officers investigate the case, and then the detectives get involved. And then from there, is there enough to take? Then you take all of your evidence and you take your case that you've built and you give it to the prosecutor, you give it to the DA, and you say, here's my case. This is what we found in the death investigation of this person. And then the DA gets to make the decision. The cops have absolutely no say if a case is going to be taken to trial or not. Zero say. They have say in that, how good they write their police reports, how good they collect evidence, how good they interview the witnesses, and how good they take what they got from the interview and put it into that police report. You saw a lot of this in the case where Jen McCabe and others in the case would say, oh, I didn't say that, Proctor got that wrong, or Guerrero got that wrong, or I never said that, or I didn't do that when they said I did. You saw them, the witnesses, throwing officers under the bus. That's why it's so important for officers to audio. Now, everything is either body cam or it's recorded, so that you have proof of what that person said in your interview. And then when you write your report, you listen to that tape, or you give that tape to your staff who types up police reports for you. A lot of officers don't type their own police reports. They dictate them. So then you give the dictation and the proof of how you came up with your dictation to those court reporters, the police report people that write the reports for you, and you have backup of all that. That's why it's so important that you audio your interviews. And again, why wasn't that done? Why were all those interviews done by the Canton Police and the Massachusetts State Police without any recording? Well, that's obvious, right? Why do we not record something? Well, we don't want someone to hear it. We don't want anybody to hear what was really said. I mean, how do we know what was really said by Julie Albert, Chris Albert, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, any of the other interviews that they did? We'll never know, because they didn't record them, and they should have. And that was a huge, huge problem and a huge disappointment in their police investigative work. It was Cagney. Yes. Is that what you said, Julie? That was Cagney, right?
James Cagney. Yeah.
Yes. Oh
That's,
God, I loved all those old
Oh
movies.
yeah,
They
Shauna said,
were-
yeah. That was a line from the Sopranos too. Hop along, Quesadich. What do you hear? What do you say? Yep.
Exactly. And I agree, Julie. I do believe that John O'Keefe, he was a good person. He was a good guy. And I think he was a good cop. I mean, he'd never had any issues being a cop, never written up, never fired. And I think he just wanted to do right and took his oath to serve his community very, very seriously. And so if anybody deserves justice, it's him. But everybody does. I mean, anybody that's been unalived, anybody that's been unalived by someone else, regardless of what they did for a living, like Sarah Ebersol, the case was so fucked up from the get-go because they mishandled it because she was a exotic dancer. Oh, God forbid that a woman chooses to be an exotic dancer. So she goes missing. So that just means she's out partying and she's disappeared with one of the guys from the club or someone she knows, and she's out drinking and partying because she's an exotic dancer. Her missing persons case wasn't taken seriously for weeks and weeks. And any evidence of those who unalived her that could have been found, should have been found, is never going to be found now, probably. That's why she's still missing 2.5 years later, because they absolutely screwed up the case. And it just shows you how important, and they preach this all the time. If those of you that follow true crime and you follow Dateline or you watch any of the other shows, the first 48 hours is crucial, absolutely crucial in finding a missing person or finding evidence of the unaliving if that person is still missing, or if you find them and there's not a lot of evidence at the scene and you don't really know if their bodies were moved or not, which in the case of John O'Keefe, his body would have had to have been moved. So you've got 48 hours and ticking to find out where that body came from. Where did the crime actually take place? And so it just shows you how important those initial steps are for the police that initially get to the scene before the detectives even arrive, before CIA or what CSI even arrives, those initial police officers that arrive. And so you've seen all of the mistakes that were made, and you're going to see how corruption was involved eventually. If we even get to a trial, it's very possible Matthew Farwell will plead guilty and give up and do what he needs to do to, right? I mean, there may not
Seems
be
like that might be the case. Seems like that's a preview of coming attractions.
I don't see it. I just don't see it. All of these delays to get, I think the same thing that just happened with Brian Kohlberger, and that's a whole different discussion we can have next time, because I do want to chat with you guys a little bit about my thoughts and feelings on that case and the justice for the Idaho 4. There were so many delays in that case, and then he decides to plead guilty to all 4. It's sort of mind-boggling to me that he wasn't going to take his chance in court, especially with so much of the evidence that was coming up that there might have been someone involved with him that he either was working for or he was assisting. I don't know. It's kind of frightening that there might be some people getting away with this because he is taking the full rap for this. And I just can't. I still think there might be someone else involved, possibly. I mean, again, it's all just speculation on my part, possibly. So Shauna, TB always has my support. He has balls of steel and I respect him. He was arrested and sat in the police station asking about the Ford Edge. Most people would have been crumbling. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, getting arrested is no joke. I've never been arrested, thank God, but I have arrested people, and I see their visceral reaction, because most times, like I've explained to you guys before, it's a one thing, it's a one-off. Most people get arrested once in their whole life, and it was for doing something really stupid, not thinking, being drunk, taking drugs they shouldn't have taken, which caused behavior that they would never have done, making a one-time stupid mistake to steal something or shoplift something or rob somebody because they were desperate. Most people get arrested once, and that's it. And then the day it happens is the worst day of their lives, because your freedom is now taken. You're put in handcuffs, you're searched, you're taken to jail, where you're searched further in a way more evasive way. Your clothes are taken from you. Your personal effects are taken from you. Your phone, your wallet, your jewelry, your wedding, anything, everything. You're just stripped naked of everything, and you're wearing crappy, scratchy, ugly prison crap. So it is the worst day of anyone's life when they get arrested. No doubt about it. And I don't know what it feels like. It hasn't happened to me, but I've witnessed it. So I've watched the visceral reaction of the people being arrested. It's horrible. There's no other way to put it. Taking away someone's freedom is no joke, and it's horrible. And we should always take it very, very seriously and not lightly when we have to do that to someone, when you're a police officer or a sheriff and you're taking that person into prison, into custody in your county jail or your city jail. Everyone's right should be respected, even if they've done something wrong or bad, because it's the hugest thing you can ever take from someone is their freedom. Filthy Rat Bastard says, sorry, wasn't trying to blow up your chat. Oh, you're good. You didn't. No, listen, we look at
That's
both
what we're
sides
here for. Come talk to us.
That's what we're here for. We want to hear your side. We want to hear your opinion. We absolutely respect your opinion, but we also need you to respect my opinion and Julie's opinion, because we have opinions too. And like I said, a lot of what I share with you is based on what I saw in my career as a police officer and a social worker. They're very intertwined. And Julie's opinion is based on what she's seen in her life, her background in science, and blobologist, her degree in blobology.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, and we welcome all comments. We welcome anything you want to say to us. We still respect you. You're still our friends. If you're in our friend zone, we can disagree. We can agree to disagree on many things. So, so Ma'am Cat says, okay to get filthy. That's right. We can get a little filthy. So today I got the opportunity because my sister had to have a procedure. So I had a little time to myself waiting at the hospital. And I did get to listen to a little bit. I'm still kind of stunned that Sean came on Grant's show, because Grant is Grant. If any of you have taken the time to go on his show, those of you that believe Karen is innocent, he absolutely doesn't believe Karen is innocent. His chat absolutely doesn't believe Karen is innocent. I tried many times to go in there and just say a few things like, hey guys, I'm a former police officer. Here's my opinion on the scene. It was this, it was that, it was the other. Here's my opinion on the witnesses. And they don't want to hear it. So, I've tried to think, could she have clipped him? Could she have done it? But then I go over in my brain, and we've done this on Friday Night Live since last January. We've gone over all the witness testimony. We've looked at it with a fine-tooth comb. We've spent 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours going over Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Julie Nagel, Ricky, Ryan. You name it, Heather. We've gone over it. Brian Higgins, all the cops, the firefighters. It doesn't make sense. Nothing adds up. So you're never going to convince me that she clipped him with that car, even though she had some weird moments in her interviews, even though some of it could make sense. The totality of it for me does not make sense. And I really think people that are on that anti-Karen Read side need to put their feelings about her as a person aside, whether you like her or you don't like her. You don't like her attorneys. I don't care. It's not about you. It's not about who you like. It's about who killed John O'Keefe. That's what it's about. And that's what we're going to keep digging into on Friday Night Lies. We can't resume this Friday because I have a reunion that I'm hosting for my high school, a little mini reunion. And so we cannot resume, but I'm happy to go Sunday night. If you guys want to, we're at 228 now. And I have a roommate right now here. My best friend from high school is staying with me, and she's out in the hallway with my dog. So I want to end us tonight real quickly here soon, but I can resume Sunday night if you're open to all that, or we can say we're already booked for next Friday. I already have the stream up. We can just wait till next Friday. If you guys want to weigh in the chat, and those of you on replay, if you want to weigh in, I'm happy to go Sunday night. I'm leaving to start driving back to Florida on Monday. So Sunday night's going to be low key. So I'm happy to just sit here in my little hotel room and we can pick up where we left off, because I do want to get to Sean's interview with Grant, because it's pretty fascinating, and I'd like to be fresh for it. So I'd like to start right out either Sunday night or next Friday night with Sean's interview, because it's very telling. And Sean's been on this case. Obviously he's from Boston. He went to Canton High School. It's good stuff. So Julie, what are your thoughts? What do you have going on Sunday night?
Well, I mean, I'm good for Sunday night. I mean, I want to cover a little bit of the conversation that Turtle had with Dag Nabbit, and then show a little bit of the quote that she
Yes.
quoted, and he, you know, ripped her apart for saying, "No, that's not me. I never said those words." And then and then Grant shows the video of him saying those exact
Well,
words.
we can start. We can
Um,
absolutely start right there where we are now, where we've left off.
Yeah,
can-
I mean,
yeah.
the links are there, and I mean, if we have more time, I'll be able to break down, you know, more time, so it's just not like general, and we end up listening to Grant talk about towels for a little bit. So
Right. Well, neither one of us. I didn't have time this week with everything we had going on to get everything.
well, it was just
broken down.
so quick. I mean, I started going through the stuff today, and then all of a sudden I look and I was like, oh shit, Sean's on. So it was like, stop
Yeah.
that, and let's listen to this. And I mean,
Right.
I barely got through half of my source, my quote unquote sources checking the scuttlebutt. So I haven't even read what Sean put up. So
Well, I figured between the two of us, though, and there's so much that has
A
gone
lot.
on since we last got together before the 4th of July. We could just sit up here and talk for 4 hours about. I mean, it's just so much, and
yeah,
and
it's a
so
lot.
much to debate. Yeah, so much to debate and criticize and critique
Oh
and
boy.
go over. And yeah, it's insane. So okay, so I vote for Sunday night.
Yeah,
And then we'll
yeah.
obviously be back next Friday night now with Friday Night Lies. I'll be back to my home office. So we'll be back next Friday night for sure. Not this Friday, but next Friday with Friday Night Lies. But I'll put up a stream for Sunday night, and we'll just pick up where we left off tonight. And that way we'll be pretty caught up. Who knows what else is going to happen, but we'll be pretty caught up
Oh
until
my
we can
God.
hopefully be back together again
The helicopter and a
next Friday
SWAT
night.
team come by. Maybe we'll go breaking and like, well, I guess you know, man is gonna fall from heaven or something. Jesus Christ.
Right. You never know. With this case. Every day is just
Oh,
a different challenge. So much going on. So thanks everybody. We missed you. It was a long 2 weeks of 4th of July, and then I was driving. So it's been great to be back tonight with you, Julie, Shauna, MCAT, Filthy Rat Bastard, everybody else who's been here with us live. Thank you so much. Never feel shy. If you have an opinion that differs from mine or Julie's, that's okay. Come on in the chat box. If you want to come on the platform, I'm always glad to have you. MCAT has braved it, and she's been on the platform with us before. So you're all very welcome. We're just a small group of people trying to do good and trying to stand for victims of crime. So before we close tonight, I just want to let you know that there's nothing new with Ellen Greenberg right now. It's like I said, her family won they settled in the courts in February. They did not choose a jury. Because the medical examiner that was on the case, Osborne, back in the day, recanted, filed a letter, they handed it to the judge right before jury selection. The prosecution, the defense offered the Greenbergs, the prosecution, because their attorney, they were on the prosecution side. They offered him a settlement, and they took it. But part of their agreement to take it was that the case would get looked at by the current medical examiner in Philadelphia, because Osborne cannot overturn what he did because he doesn't work there anymore. He lives in Florida. So he recanted and said, I screwed up. I should have never changed it from a homicide to an unaliving of herself, but I did because this, that, and the other. But he can't do anything about it legally because he's not the medical examiner in Philadelphia anymore. He's not even in the state of Pennsylvania. He's in Florida. He has been for quite a long time. The current medical examiner is the only one that can look at all the evidence and say, okay, yeah, this was really messed up. I'm overturning this back to a homicide. And that has not happened yet. And that was in February that they got that judgment. So what is going on in Philadelphia? So I need to do some digging. I'll try to find some answers for you. Suzanne Morphew, waiting to hear when Barry Morphew is going to have his first hearing. So I'll try to dig into that over the weekend when I have some downtime. And haven't heard any more about Suzanne Clark Simpson and her husband's first hearing. She's still missing. They still haven't found her. And of course, we know that Walsh has still not told anybody allegedly where he put his wife, because he's saying that he did not unalive her, but she's been missing now for has it been 2 years since January, Anna? Anna Walsh. So who did unalive her then, Mr. Walsh? If it wasn't you, what are your speculations on that? Who unalived your wife, and where did they put her? So and then we're dealing with, obviously Yuri making a fool of himself, and by not having the correct warrants for. So we're going to get into all that. We have to get into that because that's huge. You got the same officers, and this guy might. I think he did it personally, allegedly. My belief. Based on the statistics, 85% of women are unalived by someone they know. And of those 65% are their spouses, husbands, boyfriends. So the percentages are all in favor. The evidence that they have so far is all in favor of him unaliving his wife. But did these officers that we know effed up John O'Keefe's case, Sandra Birchmore's case, have they now also effed up Anna Walsh's case? So we have to look into that. And then we have to look at the threading of how these three cases are similar with the police corruption. And it's pretty outstanding and disgusting and unbelievable, really, very much so. Right. And then I have no updates right now. Jason Veach is kind of in a holding pattern. Where is Sarah Ebersol? Her sister is still fighting to find her. There's really no new information at all as to where that lovely girl is or what happened to her. It's despicable and sad. And I know with Enrique, that case is still, nothing's happening right now, right? There's no charges yet. Anything new on the Enrique out of Massachusetts?
For charges, no. They impaneled a grand jury, and I think that's about
Right.
as far as
I
we
see
know. And then there's also this stuff going on in the background with that. So I mean, who's
Right.
to say? But it's not proceeding as it should proceed. But
Right. And I want to catch up on
Yeah.
Sandra Birchmore too with Divine. I don't know yet what happened. I didn't get a chance. So I'll catch up on all that as well. And we'll talk about that on Sunday. And then I do want to talk about the Idaho 4 case a little bit as we go forward in the next couple of weeks. It's another very bizarre, creepy, scary case. If he did do it by himself, it's stunning to me that he was able to commit these 4 atrocious crimes on 4 different individuals in that time frame that they're saying, and get rid of all the evidence and no evidence other than that small trace on that sheath. I as a police officer, I find this case to be completely mind-boggling and almost out of body, like surreal. So we will talk about it coming up as well. So we'll have lots to talk about on Friday Night Lies coming up down the pipe, but we're going to finish up all of this interesting information about this grand juror and what's gone on again this week with these live streams with Aiden and then Sean coming on Grant, which is shocking to me. And so we got a lot to talk about Sunday night. So what time do you want to go at? Should we go at the same time? 9 Eastern, 8 Central, Sunday night? That works good for me.
that works good for you. Are you going to be okay if we go late and then you leave the next morning? I mean,
yeah, I'm not leaving super early, so it'll be
Okay.
good. I'm going to hang with my mom and sister and my younger son before I live stream. So I'm going to need at least till 8:00 Central. So we'll reconvene 8:00 Central, everyone, on Sunday night and finish wrapping up my opinion, Julie's opinion, and all of your opinions on everything that's gone on. So thank you, Julie. Crazy over. Thank you again to everybody. Yes, go ahead.
One quick. So we were talking a whole bunch about Grant, and I forget which one of the multitude of hours he did, and I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before or whatever it was. But talking about all the grand jury stuff and whatever it is, he was talking about like, oh, everyone's gonna get indicted and this is gonna happen and Hank and this and like he just passed out and he was excited and then I started getting excited. It's like, oh boy, something's happening. But in it, he mentioned, he said, well, I don't know what's going to happen here. This is going to be Karen. This is going to be Alan, or this is going to be David. And he's like, well, it's probably not going to be David because David's a good guy. And over the last, maybe 6-8 months of trying to figure out who he is. I know that David and Eddie and Wendy kind of take shots at one another back and forth online.
Right.
And Grant comes in and defends his mother, but whenever and every once in a while, Grant will, like he'll do some like he'll do some like really good stuff with talking about like what's going on in cancer and whatnot with stuff like that. But he will like go off on a tear and like, oh, the hell with you, David Yannetti. The board's gonna have your bar card and I'm gonna dance and do towel. And it was like, what are you doing? So I just wanted to say, like, Grant, if you're out there and if you come across this, it was fantastic to hear you say that David Yannetti, who is a good guy, is a good guy, and that it probably wasn't him who got involved. If that is the case, and that's what's going on here, and it's just good to hear because, I'm here in Massachusetts. Grant, you're here in Massachusetts. David Yannetti is here in Massachusetts, and the Yannetti family is here in Massachusetts. Everybody else, wherever they go, and they're going to stay wherever. But we're here, he's here, and just don't like people taking swipes at him. So it was nice of you. So Grant, thank you for calling him out as a good guy and saying that, he's a good guy and that you didn't take jabs at him. So I appreciate that. And you're a talent. So there you go. Don't forget.
Exactly. And you're a talent. But I appreciate all of you that are from Massachusetts because, again, I'm not from Massachusetts, but I care about justice and I care about true crime. I care about dirty cops getting their due and dirty government and getting their due. So, but I don't care to the level you care because it's your state. If it was happening here in Wisconsin or happening where I live in Florida, it's a higher level of care. That's just human nature. That's normal. Yep. So I'm just very honored to know you, Julie, and to know anybody that comes in our chat that's from Massachusetts, that you're standing for your town and your state. And I believe that the rest of us, MCAT and Shauna, those of us that aren't from Massachusetts, that we would do the same for our hometown and our home state. And I think it's really honorable what you guys are doing. And Filthy Rat Bastard, thank you so much for joining in our chat tonight. You're welcome anytime. And any of your friends from Massachusetts, Randolph and the surrounding area. I would like to chat with you more. I hope you'll come back. I'd like to know more about John as a person.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
We continue
he's like a good guy.
Right. He wasn't just that guy in the snow. He had a life. He was a guy, and he was a man, and he was a neighbor and a friend and a brother and an uncle and a boyfriend and a son. So I would like to know more about him. You actually worked with him, and I think that's really amazing. It makes me feel really some kind of special way that you were here with us tonight and that you actually knew the man. I think a lot of times when true crime and people get involved with it, the body does become the body because you're fighting for justice for someone who's dead. So you never knew them when they were alive. You never met them. You're fighting for a soul that's in heaven, and you're fighting for justice because that's the right thing to do. And you're fighting for your community and your surrounding neighbors. And I think the person, and he's staring there right behind Julie and I think the person gets lost in all of that sometimes. Yep. And especially with the Karen Read movement, the fight to free someone that we believed was innocent, that was wrongly accused. And like I said, at the very worst, didn't have enough evidence to convict. Yep. But I think John got lost in all that. He's really the victim. He was the only victim. Karen was a victim by happenstance and possibly by corruption, but John was the true victim. He lost his life. He doesn't get to be here anymore. His friends and family don't get to see him and hang with him. And all of us have lost someone at this point in our lives, whether it be by natural causes or by nefarious or by an accident. So we all know what that feels like. So let's remember all of John's friends and his family and Karen's friends and family, because she's suffered and will never be the same from what she's gone through either. This whole thing was a tragedy that happened during that bad, nasty nor'easter. And we are all just spectators of it as those that like to follow true crime. But we can just continue to stand for victims of crime, continue to advocate for victims of crime and their families, and continue to advocate for justice for everyone. So thanks a lot, everybody. Love and hugs to all of you in our friend zone tonight. And to those of you on replay, I truly appreciate it. I know there's so many live streams, so much going on. Thank you. If you could give us a thumbs up, that helps our algorithm. So it helps push all of our victims and their families that we are standing for, all of our live streams out into the stratosphere of the YouTube world. Thank you very much. And we'll be back Sunday night then at 8 Central, 9 Eastern to continue this discussion regarding all of the new information that has come out post Karen Read trial and her exoneration, and our continued stage 2 justice for John O'Keefe. All right. Good night, everybody. See you soon. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you Sunday night, and we'll be back next Friday with Friday Night Lies. Take care, everybody.
See you guys on Sunday. Don't go to people's houses, please.
Don't go to people's houses. Touch grass in the meantime.
They try to silence the truth we shout, but we're still here, we're still calling out. Corruption hides behind a badge of name. We light the fire, expose the shame. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they tried to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. The stories echo, the pain runs deep. For stolen lives we can't just weep. Elected power, but their hearts are cold. We'll bring the truth, let it be told. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight for every voice lost in the night. My life mattered is the cry we sing for the ones they try to bury within. It's just us, we're a movement wide. Together we rise, won't run nor hide. We're justice seekers, we'll fight the fight. The heroes undo the harm. Calling out corruption, we'll stand tall. For justice and truth, we'll risk it all. My